situation too. So it really depends on the dynamic of the relationship that you have with the friend, and then that will determine, whether you should or you shouldn't.
What's crazy is I just talked about this earlier because I had two friends that dated my ex, but the difference is we broke up because I couldn't trust her. Ooh. And so one of my boys came to me. He was like, "Hey, what's up?" I'm like, "Man, go ahead." And then the other guy did it behind my back, and that caused problems. My thing is, as a man, give me the respect to have a conversation. Because even if I'm in my feelings, it takes two. So he could be like, "Hey, man, I'm just coming to you, man to man. It's gonna happen anyway." So it's really, because like you said earlier, you can't monopolize it. They could have something strong or what have you. That gives me the opportunity to say if I want to continue to have a friendship with that guy or not. But because of the situation, because of what happened, I appreciated the first guy that came to me and said, "Hey, I'm feeling her. What's going on?" It wasn't one of those special. I think you could put your stamp on some, but not, we may have a limit, and that's what I'm feeling, but you can put your stamp on some. Now, that was really deep, but there's some that you dated, and it wasn't that deep, and, fair game.
And so my situation, I was divorced from my wife 2 years, and my boy tried to date her. Now, we weren't tight boys, but we were boys. Yeah. And it was her that told me, because her response was, first of all, the Jerome, because we all work together. The Jerome that you see at work. I know the Jerome outside of work, and we are not surviving that. Like, seriously. And I stepped to him, and it was at work. I stepped to him, and I was like, "You need to thank God that I found God, or this would have been a different conversation." And I meant that, like, seriously. So I just know the way I roll. Nah. Mm-hmm.
That's for me. I'm with Jerome on that one. If you married or that's one of somebody you loved, she's off limits. Like I don't care if it's 20 years from now. It's just off limits because you know the depth of the relationship. Now she was somebody I hung out with 2 years. Was a passing by. I was doing my thing while I was with her, and then you bumped into her. Rock out, do your thing. But if it's the love thing, I put a ring on it. I'm trying to put a ring on it. I might put a ring on it, and then you circle back. We got problems.
You can't trust your boy after that.
Let's be honest. I lost money to her. You gonna come in and like collect what I just paid? No, we not doing that, brother. No. Wait, beloved, we ain't doing that.
He said, "Beloved." He hit us with the the beloved. He hit us with the beloved.
This reminds me of what's happening.
Boys. I played ball for years, and there's a bunch of dudes that I knew on the court. I ain't talked to them off the court. If they have my number, they may call me their friend. But if we not kicking it, if you ain't someone that is like my ride or die to my left and my right that you see with every day, I'm not caring about you broke up with her yesterday, 2 weeks ago, whatever. You just someone that I know. If I stop talking to a girl because you know her or you know me, there's a whole bunch of people I'm not gonna be able to date. And coming from a big city, I went to college in a small town. That's really only a thing in the big cities. When you go to a small town, literally, they're like, they don't have many options. So it's like, if you break up with them, and as long as it's been a clean break, they're fair game. So I'm not going to go fish in that pool, but if something happened and it's real, I'm going to let it happen. It is what it is.
Yo, what I find interesting is, like, on the opposite side, when it comes to women, it's not even about if you dated that man before, it's if you liked him.
If you liked him.
Yeah.
So it's like, what it is? Have a say in the matter. Yeah. Like, I can't talk to you because you're a friend that I don't like?
Right.
Yeah.
How that work?
Yeah.
We don't do that. I don't think we do that as men.
No, we don't do that.
And she looked at you first. She looked at you first, So it's like she got dibs on it. You know what I'm saying? Like Yonci's homegirl looked at Jermaine first.
We have no say in the matter though. Like we really don't have any.
Right.
None.
We don't even know.
Okay, so here's my question.
But have you been hit? With that though, where it's like the sister's like, "Yo, I'm gonna keep it real with you. I do feel you, but my girl
All the
makes you first. She makes you first."
Logically,
and the homegirl don't even. Never mind. We don't even got to talk about it. But the homegirl don't even be looking like.
She don't even have a chance.
Oh my God.
Facts is facts. What were you about to say, Yonci? It's your show.
By the way, they're saying that it's still frozen. It's so frustrating, but we're just gonna press through. And like I said, I'll repost this video as not as a live stream, but just as a regular video after. But I was gonna say, so if you let's say you and your homie, you know, he had this thing for this girl and he wants his shot. He wants to shoot a shot at her, what have you. You know that she's gonna be at an event and you guys both see her at the same time. Are you guys gonna be mad if your friend steps to her knowing that it's just may the best man win? Like, oh, he got to her first.
Yeah,
that part.
Yeah.
I had a homeboy.
No.
I had a homeboy watching me because I had too much to drink. And when he was checking on old girl, and I did a spin move on him, and then I got to her first. He was frustrated, but all's fair, love and war. Like I was
What Biggie
when I saw her, I sobered up. I did a spin move, and I went right to her. So I got the number. He did. We laughed at it to this day. So.
Wow. I guess guys are a little bit more practical when it comes to that because I definitely agree. Women, not saying me, but a lot of women do the dibs thing, and it can be really frustrating, especially if you know that person is not their type. So it's like you basically just marked him forever, and nobody's gonna get him.
That is so insane. That is so insane.
You probably want to ask that question when you got the females on here, because I'd be curious from why would that even still be a thing in 2020? Like it sounds so ridiculous when you say it out loud.
It sounds childish.
I would not disagree. Tonight is going to be all men though, so you guys get a chance.
Okay.
You guys get a chance to let your voices be.
Because they come through on Sunday nights, fellas, for real.
Look, and we as women, we have a lot to say. Oh my God. All right, so we're going to switch it up, guys. I'm going to kind of go through rapid fire and ask you guys all my questions. And I want to know, first of all, let's start off with social media turnoffs, okay? So a lot of people are meeting online. I say no shame in that because it's kind of like the new wave. A lot of people are spending time on there. And I say it's the same people on there as the same people you're running into in real life. So what are some things that women do that make you not even want to go into her DM? She might be beautiful. She might be your total type in a photo. But what is something that you see? I want to give ladies an idea of how things come across. And ladies, before you get triggered, because I know some people, they're already twitching a little bit listening to this. You can never lose by hearing the majority's opinion. Because like I said in a YouTube video, you guys are our target market. And if this was marketing and I am trying to sell a product, myself and my relationship, you guys are my target audience. And so it would behoove me to listen to my consumers because you guys are my consumers. You are in my target demographic. I'm looking 30s to 40s, late 30s up until mid 40s. I'm looking for a black man. It would behoove me to listen to what you guys have to say. So that being said, ladies, put your big girl panties on and just listen to what the guys are saying and what they are consistently saying, because they're not all going to agree, but some things they are.
And see, it's like you're trying to give them the answers. You're trying to give them the answers to the test. So I'm feeling some kind of way about this question, but
there's always one.
Here's my answer to that. Right? Too much exposure on social media is like being almost naked when you're seeing somebody. If I see you on social media way too much, too many pictures, you showing your ass all the time. Hope I can say that. Sorry about that. You showing your butt all the time. Every 5 minutes you on with a new picture of you period, just doing absolutely nothing to maybe something, that becomes annoying because it looks thirsty. You look like the female who's walking around in a bra and panties just out in the street. That's what I equate that to.
Too many selfies for me. It's like it's a wrap. And these all the different little poses of the same outfit. Too many selfies, and I'm like, I'm good. She too into herself.
Okay, I was gonna say always give the why. So your why is because she looks like she's vain, she's into herself. Corey, the naked photos, what does that say to you as a man? What message does she?
Well, it says that she's thirsty to me. That's what it's because you don't have to like one or two. I get it. You got a nice body or a cute face. That shouldn't change unless something drastic happened in the next whatever. Like it's gonna be the same body and the same face like in the next 50. So I don't need to continue to. Well, I don't need to continue to see that. And so after a while, it's like you look desperate, and then you also look like you selling ass.
So if you guys were in a relationship and she's sending you exclusively you those photos, are you having the same problem with those photos, or is it because it's on the World Wide Web?
Yeah, I mean that's not exclusive. Like, right, the web is not exclusive.
No. I said if it was. If she sent those same photos exclusively to you versus putting them on the social media, I'm saying, is it the picture that's the issue, or is it because it's on that platform?
It's the platform, but honestly, I wouldn't really want my lady. That's just me. I don't need that either. Like I don't want her sending me 50,000 million pictures of her in a million different outfits for what? Like, because the minute I say one of them don't look too good, it's a problem. Like I don't want that neither.
That's true.
Like, yo, what made you decide to wear? What made you decide to wear that
sexy pic in my
why your hair look like that, and then it's become a problem. So like, I don't need that headache neither. You know what I mean? Like, nobody told you to put that dress on. It ain't really that flattering today. Then you gonna want me to be honest.
John dying over there.
Gotta be honest. Gotta be honest.
I just had this conversation yesterday. Just had it. Hey, fellas, don't y'all want to know what this is, though? I'm finna be public enemy number one. But I have homegirls, and I ask them, I say, what is this?
Right.
Oh, we're talking about the video. The video.
In the car.
You ever seen that car doing that? They be in traffic.
Right.
Nah, yo, it's called,
Oh my God,
it's funny.
Filters,
That's called I'm feeling myself. I think I look cute, and I want y'all to see that I feel like I look cute. They trying to stun on you. That's what that is.
You know, it already look
and let me tag it with an inspiring. Let me put an inspiring little post on it to make it seem like I'm not being thirsty.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I will agree. I will agree that is definitely cringy. And I will also say it might even be more cringy when I see a man do it. I have started to see men do it recently.
I understand that. I definitely. But for me, the biggest one is baby daddy drama that you put on social media.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
And what does that say to you?
I want to touch on that, Jerome, because if we talk about more content-based things, so the thing is this, is like, if you're going on social media, like bashing the men that you want, right? You're bashing black men with memes or whatever you think is funny, every other post. You know what I mean? Or you talk about like the issues that are going on in your life, like there's a lack of maturity in that. So depending on the type of man that you are, like you're gonna see that and be like, man, this chick gonna air out all of our business, and she's not gonna be like, I don't want a overly exposed and oversaturated woman.
Can't trust her.
When you do that, you're just too out in the open and too much like, who are you doing it for? Because these people don't care, laughing at you.
Right.
Realistically, they're laughing at the content, and they're like, man, this girl ain't never going to get a man. So the thing is this: if you're doing too much bashing of the man that you want, and also emasculation, right? There's a lot of women who like to say, oh, men acting like bitches and this, that, and the third. And, like, yo, there's no way that I, as a man, want to compete with your masculine energy.
That's a turnoff.
Now, we were going to get into specifically the masculine energy later, but I want to unpack that now because it's kind of organically coming up. Can you describe, because a lot of people can identify it, but it's really hard to describe it. So what would you say are examples of a woman displaying masculine energy?
Oh,
Aggressive.
Yeah, like
Being aggressive and combative.
I see women that post 90% of their posts are sexual. You know, they're always talking about what they can do and this and that, but they don't understand. For us, we look at it, we checking for them for another reason. We're not checking for them for them to be our girl at that point. You know,
That part. Let's talk about that.
Right.
Let's talk about that.
and here's something that I think you do, Yonci, so well. When you don't, maybe you have a different theory or theology about, well, I won't say theology, but a different like notion about something. You listen, and you listen with the intent of trying to understand.
Right.
And it's different than when, you know, you're saying something to them and they're like, no, hell no, you don't want to. You know, it's just that type of energy that doesn't denote like a mature woman that's saying, okay, I've really been thinking this way all the time, but let me see where you're coming from on this hand and really try to digest it. I hope I came through.
You know,
No, you did.
what I think that is
Yeah.
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but Jermaine, the reason why I think it is, and not tooting my horn because I've had to learn this, I think that when somebody is grounded in who they are and they have accepted their identity, it's less threatening when somebody gives feedback. Because if I'm not secure in my dancing, true story, and somebody gives me feedback, I'm going to feel more secure than if you try to come for my communication skills, because I know that I'm good at communicating. I know that I'm terrible at dancing. So I'm going to be more sensitive to that, and I'm going to defend myself. I think that's what's happening, where sometimes people aren't as grounded as they think they are. And so if you start to question, you know, who they are, it causes an inner turmoil within them. Or if they are being perceived differently than how they want to be perceived, it ruffles feathers.
So
I'm gonna say something, Yonci. Know this, Yonci.
I'm gonna say something about this feminine energy thing that is probably different from what anybody else is saying. I don't get it, right? When, you know, there was a post that you put out about when femininity coming back in 2021.
Yeah.
And my thought and feeling was, when did it ever leave, right? Or did the definition of it change from a man's point of view, right? Because, and then I had someone actually say to me, then you've never dated anybody in New York. I am New York. I'm the epitome of New York.
Yes, you
so
are.
for me, that was like, and I don't want to disrespect anybody, but I sat back and said, that was the dumbest thing I ever could have read. Like,
There's
seriously.
a lot of memes about New York women, though, and the Tims and the...
Listen,
I'm just saying.
Here's the thing, right? I lived in North Carolina also. I've traveled to 40 of the 50 states. You could find that anywhere. For people to just say it's New York is a wrong thing. I'm sorry.
Well, I gotta admit though, New York is a different beast, bro. There's no other.
Without it, I'm not debating that. But to only put that feminine, that lack of feminine energy because of women are from New York, where is this person looking? Where are they shopping? Like, seriously, because they're not shopping the same places where I have friends. Where are they shopping? That for me was a get out of here with that. I just think that, you know, I can never define femininity, just like a woman. Get away from me with defining masculinity. You can't do that for me.
Okay,
Not
so
at
here's
all,
my
because
question.
you've never been a man.
Here's my question about that, because a lot of guys state that. A lot of people say, you know, who am I to define it? When I ask that question, because I am the one who usually posts those questions, I want to know the men's perspective of it. Because just like the women who say, oh, a real man does this, she's defining what she views as masculinity. And so usually it's done in a derogatory way. I don't think that it's a problem for a man to say, this is for me, what I find feminine. So for example, I might date a guy who could care less about his plate being made for him. Then the next guy could think it's everything. A real woman does this. So to me, when I ask that question, it's not saying what is the definition, let's put it in Webster as the official statement. It's saying, what does it look like to you, Jerome? And what does it look like to you, Chavez? And what does it look like to you, Kyle? Because as we have these conversations, there are certain things that will be overarching, beliefs that we as women can start saying, okay, the majority of men see, let's just say, docile or agreeable or, dressing in skirts, whatever it is. Like, I would like to just hear what people have to say. And this is an opportunity to give your opinion. I'm not asking you guys to be the voice of all. Yeah.
I personally can't stand two things that, women of today, modern women of today say. What a real man is, and then also, I said what I said. Okay, those are the two things. Because here's the thing about let's talk about I said what I said first. All right. When you're in a conversation with somebody and you're looking to understand, all right, and the goal is to have a back and forth communication with the person, I get you trying to make your point, and that's what you said. But there's a way you can come across that it makes it seem as though, like, no matter what I say, it does not matter to you.
Yes.
It's not a two-way conversation. It's a one-way conversation, and you might as well be talking to yourself because, you know what I mean. Like, I'm gonna have certain things to say. Another aspect of it, right, is the whole real man thing. I don't hear as many a real woman posts from men.
Say that.
We don't say what a real woman does.
Y'all know you'll get dragged. That's why.
First of all, I don't even like the term a real man.
That's the problem. Right. That's the problem.
Yep.
The whole issue of why we're on this call today is because if men express themselves, the whole thing is that we're going to get dragged because we're expressing ourselves.
Yes.
But it's weird because it's like, you tell us what we want as opposed to listening to what we want. So
Come on now. Let's go, bro.
That's the name of the concept. That's the name of the show, right?
Come on now.
That's the name of the show, right? What do men want? How are you going to tell me what I want if you're not listening to me?
You gotta be healed to listen, bro.
No, we know exactly what we want.
That's it.
Come on, bro.
What we want is what you are doing. And we're trying to change that concept.
And I think it's
Tony, jump in.
All right, so I'm gonna back up a little bit and go back to the
New York.
I was gonna say another New Yorker in the house. Hey.
So what I've been seeing and what I've been personally doing is, if you're over a certain age and I see you twerking on your page, I'm automatically deleting you because as a grown woman, you are exposing yourself to. I can see if your page is private, you had like a private something going on and you did that, then fine. But when you have a public page that you sitting here twerking and like my brother said, you half naked all the time, delete because you're looking for something. And then when I read your comments, you're looking for a type of respect at the same time. But what you're actually doing is, because I read the post, what you're actually doing is you're getting the worms and the snakes that's gonna appeal to you and then break your heart again. Like my brother Jermaine with the eye said, we're trying to tell you what we're looking for and what we want, but you're trying to get into this whole thing of femininity and this feminine juice and power, and all I'm doing for showing my sexuality, I'm doing this certain thing because I'm being free with my sexuality. What you're really attracting is the dudes that want to abuse your sexuality. That's what you're attracting. Mm-hmm. So what you need to do is kind of slow down with all of that loose. I know the comments is going crazy. Do you, boo? Show you how you going to show you. But we're going to tell you how we approach that. We're going to approach that kind of suspiciously.
And I think cute, that you need to.
She's smart, but I need to take my time with you.
I think, Tony, you touch on a good point, and I want you to expound on this more. It's not so much judgment, because I think I hear, women here, I'm being judged. It's almost protective, not even almost, it is protective because like, I remember this. I remember thinking my dad was absolutely nuts. I'm like, no, he's just protective because I'm his daughter, and he just thinks that I'm beautiful because I'm his daughter. He's biased. It wasn't until I got into the real world that I learned that there are a great deal of men who are dogs. Like, I will say it straight up. You guys admit it. You know there's certain dudes over your dead body they'd be allowed to date your daughters, okay? Some guys are just dogs. And I think this is what women fail to understand, that guys understand men far better than women do. And if they are saying certain things, which y'all getting all into my notes for later today, a lot of things that I think women do that are considered disrespectful within a relationship, they don't realize it's disrespectful because they don't understand how other men perceive that. And I remember an ex telling me, if a man so much as thinks he has a chance with you, that's disrespect. Whether it's prolonged eye contact, whether it's smiling, whether it's giggling at his jokes, whether it's having lunch with him one-on-one. It doesn't have to be the extreme where you guys are naked and having, sexual relationship. It's the fact that that man feels like at the end of the day, yeah, if I want her, I got her. And it's a feeling that men know. They know when they have the green light from a woman, and they'll be damned if their woman is about to give the green light that, hey, you could get it, man. Mm-hmm. And it's a subtle thing that most women. Am I lying, y'all? Am I lying?
And it's not judgment. And here's the thing: it's not judgment because, like Tony said, it's just what a certain caliber of man wants from his woman. So just like a lot of women want their man to be 6 feet tall, we could go all crazy. I'm 5'8". I'm 5'8", 1/8. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna put that 1/8 on there.
Get that 1/8, bro.
But I can say, yo, I can get mad and be like, well, yo, why chicks always want to go after 6 feet? That I don't care about that. Like, I know what type of woman I'm looking for, and the woman that I'm going to be with isn't even going to be on that. Like, my 5'8" and 1/8 is going to be enough for her. So when you have a certain type of woman doing a certain type of thing, brothers on this call right here, we're not judging. It's just we're gonna say, oh, that's not for me. The type of chick that
that's not for me.
You just gonna
I'm judging. Damn, now I'm judging.
I'm judging. Women don't understand.
Because it's like this. Look, they can do what they want to do. At the end of the day, they can do what they want to do, right? But they gotta understand the cost associated with it. Yes. And that's just really it. Is a cost associated with it. If you do certain things, you're going to be right or wrong in your mind. Most men are going to view you this way. That's the cost associated with twerking at somebody's restaurant. We are going to put you in a box. If you want a whole bunch of pictures showing different shots, but it's the same shot, we're going to put you in another box.
You know what, Corey? And you're taking the emotion out of it because, and I'm gonna let you go, Jermaine. You're taking the emotion out of it, and a lot of times we, as women, we have to remove the personalness. So I could think that it's not nice to shoot somebody, but if they're entering my house, and they're trying to rob me, I have to take the emotions out of it and go, it is what it is. So if all of the people are saying, we put you in this box, we're going to see you a certain way, you can be free as you want, you can be sexually uninhibited as you want, but like Corey said, just understand there are going to be consequences. And like I said, it's nobody's fault for walking around Skid Row with a string bikini at 2 a.m. Would I recommend it to anybody? No, because there's a high probability that you're going to get a result that you don't want. So if you want a good guy, if we're going to talk about real men, let's talk about good guys. If you want a good, wholesome guy, you're probably not going to get him by twerking. So for the people asking, is twerking wrong? Of course not. Is anybody going to hell for twerking? Of course not. People probably do it with their friends and joke about it. But do they want the woman who's doing it on social media for everyone to see? That's the question. Jermaine, I cut you off. So what were you saying?
Yeah, I was just going to just reiterate Corey's point. What's the cost of that, right? So the thing is and Kevin Samuel says this all the time, men are the access point to marriage. We control whether we propose to you or not. Whether we decide to marry you or not.
Right.
Now, there's a lot of posts that go around that show women getting on one knee and whatever case may be. Personally, as a man, that's not the type of woman for me. I don't want no woman to ever get on her knee and try to propose to me.
What if she twerks on her knee?
I'm not with it. But what I'm saying is that If your goal is to get married, marriage is a whole structure, and it's been around longer than you've been born. Okay, so with that said, the foundation is already set. Men have been the ones who have controlled that. It's not about like a misogyny thing. It's about the fact that men go out, they buy a ring, purchase the ring, whatever the case may be, and they offer that to you because they're choosing you to be their wife. You can't choose to be somebody's wife, right? You can become a like wifely figure, but you can't just say, I'm gonna be somebody's wife. Somebody has to make you a wife.
Yeah.
Bottom line is that if you are marketing yourself in a certain demographic, that man may not say, you are the one I want to choose. So, unfortunately, and a lot of women probably don't get it and understand that, is that you don't have a lot of say in the matter of who proposes to you, other than the behaviors that you show that makes a man want to propose to you.
Let me.
It's very important. It's very important that you understand that if you want to be in that category.
Yeah.
If you don't want to be married, twerk all you want to. You know, have sex with who you want to. Put yourself out there because you're never getting married. And that's your goal.
Someone's gonna marry
Yeah,
you.
hold on.
It's not gonna be the man that
No,
they
I
say
got
marry.
Now, Jordan has.
Let me say this. One thing I want to point out, because Yas, you asked a question like, what are the things that we would say that we want or that we desire as men that we think is feminine? One thing that I always notice when conversations happen like this is that men tend to focus more on what women shouldn't be doing, what they don't want women doing, right? Instead of actually, it's harder to talk about what you want to see in a woman because there's so many things that women are doing that are turnoffs or put them in a certain box that tends to be where most of our energy goes to first. Because you could be great in all these other different areas, but if you're still doing this or you're doing that, it automatically throws you in a box. Exactly. And so so kind of on both ends. So like I would love to hear from more of the men. Like, what are some things outside of the things we don't want? What are some things they can be doing?
Yes, and that
I got something.
Jordan going to add that, and then we're going to address that specifically.
Yeah,
I told you, y'all have my notes today.
I think. I'm sorry, but yeah, I think both of those things coincide. Being chastened, being wise, being tender, being gentle, being meek, being caring. You know, I think those are along the lines of not only things that are feminine, but things that I would want to find in a wife. Online, on social media, if I'm going to be looking for a woman, of course, like the gentleman said, homie from New York, man, just like homie said, you know, if you are showing, you know, say for instance, you twerking or you got, you know, clothes on that you half naked, you know, I'm going to put you in the box, you know, are you just a piece, you know, or if you're the type where you are constantly out there and you seem like you're thirsty for attention, not even necessarily negative attention, but you're taking 17 million pictures, you know, doing the whole camera, trying to, you know, be cute in front of everybody, you know, for yourself or for your girls to pick you up. That's low self-esteem. That screams something I don't necessarily want to deal with because I'm going to have to constantly put extra work in it. What I want to see is a developed person. I want to see mentally where you are. I'm sapiosexual. Where are you mentally? Are you in a place where you're mentally sound enough for me to speak something real to you and you can get it? Because you have to really be in a mental sound place as a woman for you to understand Mars. And that's what I'm going to introduce you to when you become my wife. You know, are you going to understand Mars? And are you somebody who I want to perpetuate with my children? Do I want to grow a legacy with you? Can I see the potential of somebody I want to grow a legacy with you? And you can show that on social media, but you got to show me the beginnings of it. And then I'm gonna hit your inbox after I've commented on a few of your posts to see how you respond and how you talking. And if you talking right, yeah, we can move forward. But definitely be feminine, and then have some of those characteristics, and have your mind together.
And I want to say this too. Don't lose your thought, Corey. I want to say this too, and I joke about. I say it jokingly, but in all seriousness, about not being triggered. Listening to data and market research has never hurt anyone. There has been no business, no company, no marketing agency that said, damn it, we got all this research, that was a waste of our time. There's never...
So they spent millions of dollars for that information.
Right.
Millions of dollars for that information.
So whether or not you like it or not, this is information that you're going to need to have. And for example, if somebody says to me, you know, I could be 20 pounds overweight and be totally happy with myself. But if I hear 15 relationship coaches say, you know what, if you're not getting as many guys as you want, try dropping about 20 pounds and see the difference. I would be a fool to not take their advice. I would be there a fool to say, well, I'm so happy with myself. Well, obviously I'm not that happy because I'm alone. So what I say to the people who are naysayers or people who are saying, oh my God, these guys are out to lunch or whatever, I would ask the women, are you successful? Are you finding the type of guy that you want? Because a lot of times when men describe the type of guy that they want, they're describing the types of guys who are on this panel here. And so I think that we really have to get out of our own way when it, as far as women. And I think a lot of times women just feel picked upon, like, you know, we can't do anything. We're always being critiqued. We just have to put that aside because at the end of the day, like you said, Jermaine, with an I, men are the one picking. And so we have to understand what men want. Just like men, if they want to get in a woman's pants, they have to understand what women want because otherwise they ain't getting in.
Because you control access to sex. Absolutely.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's right now.
Real quick, this is super quick. Like I hear a lot of people look at Barack and Michelle and they say relationship goals, right? As a sister, if that's what you're looking for, Barack Obama, you have to look at yourself and say, would that type of man want me?
Right.
And that's not putting a sister down, but you just really have to understand. You have to understand what you're what you're asking for. And if you're not what you're asking for, then you need to either temper and pivot towards what you can get, or you have to look at yourself and say, hey.
Or look at the people who are successful at that. So some of the women who are married and the ones who are, like, talk to them, ask them what kind of a person they were. What were some of the characteristics that they showed in order to, you know, catch a particular type of man. If those are the type of men you want, then you should be asking the ones who do it. We do that in everything else in life.
Right.
But when it comes to relationships, we don't. That's
Girl, how'd you get your hair like that? Or how did you get that job?
Keep her.
Corey, what were you saying?
Keep that friend.
So it's like I got like a 2-point, right? So I want to address what Kyle was talking about, but I want to go back just a little bit. If you notice, a lot of times there are women that'll be like, well, damn, thotties out here is getting married. But the thotties are getting married to the dudes that like thots. Like you might be behaving like a thot, but then you still want the clean cut, regular, go to church, that guy. That guy don't want
all marriages are not created equal.
So you can't operate in you can't have 1 foot in and 1 foot out and then expect, well, I'm gonna get exactly what I want. That's not gonna work. Then as far as what Kyle was definitely right. Kyle was saying that we should talk about like what guys want, and it's kind of like we can probably list like 10 things that would be 10 or 15 things that we would all agree on that we want in our women. Unfortunately, the problem is when, not really the problem, but when as individuals, we're all individuals here, there's going to be little small things now that are going to separate the women that we actually are going to get into a relationship with. It's kind of like if we would fill out an application for a job, this is basically what it's like. You're gonna pick all the candidates that have 1, 2, 3 to 10. If they don't even have that, they don't even make the next cut.
That part.
Then they have to have those little intricacies about them that makes sense to me personally, that lines up with what I want specifically. So I know that you were saying earlier that you wanted more specifics, but it wouldn't, you can't really get up so far without now having to really just simply tap into that individual and what that individual wants.
And I will say this quickly. The irony, and this is somebody who was married for 12 years, the irony is that when you get into a relationship, you have to get rid of some of your individuality. Not saying you lose your personality, but you have to constantly think of yourself as a team. And to me, the most successful relationships are the ones where both people are trying to outdo each other when it comes to giving and catering to the other person's needs. The ones that the people are like, we're going to be two totally independent people coexisting, it does not work well. And so if your mindset, just hearing advice from people, is already shut down ministry, to me, that's going to be a person who really struggles because that's a hard-headed nature. that's a person who's going to struggle in a relationship, because you're going to have to listen to your partner, whether you agree, think it's stupid or not. You got to be able to have a positive attitude and listen. Who was starting to talk? I
Darren was really getting ready to talk real quick. Darren's putting
I forgot what I was gonna say now.
I just wanted to say one of the things that is for me as a man, a turn on for me is a woman that is okay with me being a gentleman to her. Because it's not me being a gentleman to her because I see her as weak, not in any way, shape, or form. It's just me saying, I value you enough that I'm gonna do certain things that are of protection of you. Holding that door. I mean, going to get the car.
Who started
we have our car parked in the parking lot. I'm gonna walk 2 blocks. I'm not going with my wife where she's going, but I'm gonna drive the car to the front of the building. She does not ever need to touch the gas tank to put gas in that car.
On.
Ever. When it comes to repairs on that car, she should never have to even think about that at all. So there are certain things that are innate in me as a man. And the first thing being that capital P, I'm a protector. I'm a protector in the crib. I'm a protector in the streets. And anybody that knows me and sees me knows it, because they will see it the minute they get out of line with respect to my woman. So for me, being a gentleman is so important to me. The other thing, I love stimulating conversations. I am an activist. I've been an activist since I was 11 years old. I love to be able to have a conversation with the woman that I'm in love with about anything that's going on in the world. That's stimulates.
My fault. I asked you a question and that threw me off. My fault, fam.
So that for me is what's vitally important.
So fellas, I wanted to pose something to the fellas on this panel. It's something that I made about a couple of days ago. But as I get older, I realized that the body part of a woman that I love the most has changed from my younger years, right? I'm actually looking more so at a woman's mouth and what comes out of it than anything else nowadays. Because you can buy an ass, you can get your body right, whatever it be, but the things that come out of your mouth are not manufactured. They come straight from your brain. So the more and more I get older and wiser, I feel like it's the things that a woman says, the things that she said out of her mouth that really kind of separates her from other women. You know what I mean? So I really feel that if we talk about what men want, there's a certain way that, when women speak, and then they speak, because they say that life and death is on the power of the tongue, right? If you're not speaking life into your man, if you don't have the ability to speak words of affirmation, which is a lot of men's love language, you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. If you don't have that ability, then it really hinders because communication in of itself is like a very sexy thing between men and women. The ability to be able to hear what I'm saying, be able to listen to what I'm saying, digest what I'm saying, and then take what I'm saying and take that and put that into action. That's probably one of the most sexiest things that a woman can do. So
comprehension.
As much as you focus on your bodies and whatever the case may be, focus on your mind.
And mouth.
What's coming out your mouth? Because what's coming out your mouth is killing relationships.
Yep.
Like it's killing your opportunity to be with them.
Jermaine, do you think that women would benefit from getting an education on how to, and I say this word tongue in cheek, manipulate men? If you guys have read the book 48 Laws of Power, there are a lot of things that they recommend in the book that sounds like you're taking a subservient role. And it's not geared towards women. It's just geared towards people. And what women don't understand, in my opinion, is how powerful we are. But the thing is that when we carry ourselves a certain way, run our mouth a certain way, roll our neck a certain way, we literally shoot ourselves in the foot. And so I think sometimes as women, we want to mirror men because you guys seem powerful when you're loud and when you're, whatever, talking a lot. Excuse me, in my cold. But the irony is that I have seen the women of old get way more of their way by being quiet and giving a look. Okay, babe.
Yonci,
appreciate it.
Wait a minute. I'm 6'4", 300 pounds. Why are you talking to me like you can knock me out? Like why are you coming at me like you want to fight me? Like, I don't get that. Now,
well, a lot of that is our culture. Understand too.
Nah, don't put that on our culture. Don't do it.
No, understand the reality of the situation. Hold on, real talk, reality, because these women aren't just born this way. There's conditioning. Human beings are sponges, and and conditioning comes into play. So a lot of us brothers not being in these girls' lives or not keeping it real with these girls, we create princess syndrome type girls.
Chavez, you're on point, right? But let's not go there yet, because that's an important conversation.
Okay, we'll put a note.
Very important conversation. So, Darren, I don't want to keep going over you because you keep having something to say. We rock out. So let's do your thing.
This is really where I'm coming from. So to touch on what Jermaine with the eye was saying, active listening is probably one of the sexiest things that women can do. And I talked about this earlier, because I don't care if I'm wrong or I'm right about something. But if we're dating, we're in a relationship type situation. If I'm speaking, I need to know that you're hearing and actively listening to me. If I'm wrong, you can correct me and tell me that I'm wrong, and we can have that conversation and we can continue to talk about that. But while I'm talking, I need to understand that you're listening to me. I also need to know that you respect who I am. If you are loud and obnoxious and you're one of those type of individuals, I'm not the dude for you, because I'm not loud. I am low key. I don't want to raise my voice or argue with you. I'm not an arguer. I'm not a person that come and fight. I want to come home to peace. So if I can't look at you as someone that I can come home to and have peace, if I have to do something to make you smile every second of the day, you're not someone that I want to date. If you don't smile on your own,
that piece,
like that
piece
resting
is
B face that the people were talking about, like, I'm not feeling that. Like,
gospel.
Men want peace.
You need to be able to be engaging with me. And
I
that's
said
just
that
being
piece
nice.
to my ex-wife.
And I get a lot of times, I hear women say, well, you just can't handle a strong black woman, this, that, and the other. Who said you strong? That's the first thing. Who said you're strong? You never hear a lion in the jungle tell anybody that he's a lion. When a lion steps in his presence, you know he's a lion. If you are a strong woman, your presence is going to show you a strong woman. If you have to tell me you're a strong woman, you might want to flip that mirror around and look at yourself.
And just because you loud,
and I'm listening and I hear you. Just because you loud doesn't mean you're strong.
I think that
you're also being rude.
Strength comes with control, self-control. To me, I learned that in my last situation. The true strength is in control. If you watch those old school movies, and I reference that old lady who had the tea, she had the tea from the beginning of the film, but she waited until the perfect opportunity to drop that little fact, or you wait for, the spy that waits for that nemesis to be sleeping in that moment. That's the strength, because anybody can just, I'm mad, I want to kill this person. But the person who's wise is the person who waits and uses wisdom. And for me, I feel like, I dealt with somebody who was so emotional, such a hothead, anger like crazy, but yet wanted all the respect. I get the guys that want the respect but act like imbeciles. And so it's like, honey, you gotta earn that. But I've learned that as women, we can do so much, even with a guy who's jacked up. Because I know women listening to this are like, yeah, but what about the fools? Well, one, you shouldn't be with the fool. But if you are with a guy and you don't respect him, take a breath. And the last thing you want to do is mirror him. Because if he's being loud and he's being whatever, I did a post and I said, think about how silly it would be for somebody to call a firefighter and say, my house is on fire, and they bring fire to put the fire out. Or if a baby's crying and you want to soothe the baby, so you cry at the baby. You do the opposite. You put the fire out. And so if you have a man who's really upset, it'll shock his mind if you say, baby, I hear you.
That's nice.
I hear
That's
what
nice.
you're
And
saying.
here's the other thing too. A lot of women don't understand when it comes down to men, just by our nature and a lot of times by our nurturing as well. They don't understand the nature of a man, and a lot of times the combative nature and the aggressive nature. And when we're in that space, you can't meet us there. There's very few.
Yes.
The average woman cannot meet the average man in that space. Two rams come together and they just walk up on each other and they lock horns like quick. Two male lions come together, they get it going. And a lot of sisters don't realize that you can't meet a man in that space.
You can't.
I know you want to, and I know maybe because of the way you were born or raised, you may feel that's the way to do it, but you can't meet a man in that space. In a truly masculine,
It's not
aggressive.
productive. Because then he's going to see you as a man, even though he doesn't consciously see you as a man, he's going to recognize that masculine energy, and that makes him want to treat you in the masculine energy. And the thing is I would rather a man fuss and do all the things he's going to do, me be quiet, nurturing, submissive, and then him recognize, because you feel like an idiot when someone just holds a mirror up to you. You're screaming and fussing, and your wife is, okay, baby, you probably hungry. Let me make you something to eat. It's not that she's a pushover. It's not that she's fussing. But I literally tried that with a guy, and I got a dozen roses. He said I acted a fool. I didn't have to tell me I acted a fool. He just looked in the mirror that I held up. This is the irony of life, and the older that I get, the more I see. The things that seem the natural solution, it's fire, I fight fire. Like you say, don't bring a knife to the gunfight. Yes, but in certain scenarios, you don't bring fire with fire. And you don't match loud. This is a soft answer turns away wrath. That's a Bible verse. There are so many things that you can do that are the opposite, and it lets the person see. When a person is going off and calling you names and you say, okay, they literally can hear the reverberation of what they said. It just echoes in their ear. But when you join them, they now feel justified because, okay, well, I called her this name, but she called me that. I'm telling you, this works with your boss, with your coworkers, with your siblings you fight with, and your relationships. It's not about being weak. I cannot stress that enough for women. You have the most power. When you have control of your emotions, you have the most power. Go ahead, Mr. Watts.
So first, I'm a back up a little bit because you said something important when you brought up Barack and Michelle. Barack and Michelle's relationship, when people go relationship goals, and this is the problem I have with that term, they're looking at the end result of what happened. If you study their relationship, Barack was broke at a time, and she carried him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Barack was at a point where he was just telling her his dreams, and she carried him because she believed in him. Most women are not trying to do that nowadays.
He had a whole.
You can't do nothing.
Finished
A hole in the
product.
bottom of his car. He had a hole in the bottom of his car, and she was rolling the Saab.
Exactly.
Yeah, but we in our 30s and 40s. That's not gonna roll with us.
Right.
It's
So
too late for that.
So you got to understand. What you have to understand is, life happens to everybody. So it doesn't. When you meet somebody right, get to know their story first before you tag them.
Right. Right.
Get to know their story first, because there's some people they just didn't want to do nothing. So you can tag that out. But there's some people that life deal with them and put them in a situation where they're stuck right now. So they're readjusting their life to move forward. That's like breaking up with somebody. You break up with somebody, what you're supposed to do is take some time off to readjust yourself. You might meet that person in their readjustment period in their life. So
Tony,
you can't judge them.
Are a lot of guys okay with dating when they're not where they want to be? Because I've heard the opposite, that men are not comfortable dating when they're not where they want to be.
They're comfortable dating, not getting married.
Not dating seriously, but
right. So let's define that term again, men, right? It goes again to what Chavez was going to bring up before. There's a healing process that, and Jordan said it at the beginning of the whole conversation. You can't heal yourself, right? And get into a relationship with somebody. You can't be trying to figure out who you are and get into a relationship with anybody, because you're still dealing with a whole bunch of triggers that person's going to bring to you. You're going to start turning on these triggers, and you guys are going to be bumping heads. But I want to bring this one thing up real quick. The boss, when he walks into the office, never has to tell anybody he's the boss. So as a woman, as a man, when you have confidence in who you are, you don't have to yell and scream about who you are. There's no one on this call going, I'm the man here, I do this here. Before we got on, we were talking about sports,
Yep.
right? And because it's a camaraderie thing and we like to, your team sucks, that was rah-rah. But no one was in here going, my team crush your team and I hate your guts. No, because that's not what it's about. That was not what the energy was for. What we have to do as a people, not as a man, not as a woman, as a people, you got to stop, slow down, find out where you are mentally within yourself, find out why certain things trigger you, all right? And then begin to deal with those things. Find out why you think a man should have certain things that you don't even have yourself. Find out why that is.
It's okay. It's okay for you to get therapy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Darren, I want
Absolutely.
It's okay for you to get therapy, women, because you need it, and men need it as well.
Absolutely.
Like, realistically, the way that our the structure is set nowadays, man, the combativeness between women. To me, I use the term extinction talk, because anytime it's men versus women, that means that nothing can procreate.
I would agree.
Talk. So what you're basically saying is that you're going to be against me, I'm going to be against you, and we're not going to get forward at all as a human race, men and women, because you're talking extinction talk to me.
I got a therapy question.
I was going to say, Darren's been wanting to say something, so I'm going to go in order here. So we'll go Darren, Jermaine without the I, and then I think Corey was just about to say something too,
Yeah.
and I would like to talk about the therapy after that. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let me just say, so all breakups aren't bad. So just because you broke up with someone doesn't mean that you're specifically in a place where you need therapy or you need time off. Sometimes you just need to exit that relationship because that relationship was the dead weight that was holding you back. And one of the other things that I've learned in my years of wisdom is that there are some hurts that you can't heal on your own. Someone from the opposite sex has to walk you through and show you that they can love you through whatever that small issue is. Not saying, the big things, but there's some things that is just, you need as a man, I need a woman to show me that all women aren't like
reassurance,
my ex,
yeah,
or vice versa. Whatever the issue may be, it's that that communication piece that's just been missing, and we always want us to tongue tied, trying to get all my thoughts back in line. We're all trying to people are trying to rush to get through a relationship and judge and say, oh, well, you broke up with someone, you need this time off, you need this, you need that. You need to look at everything as a case-by-case basis. If you come through something that's bad and terrible, you need therapy. If it's just a breakup and we're going our separate ways because it just didn't work out, it just didn't work out. Let me meet the person I need to meet. Let's walk down that pathway and figure out what's going on.
I think those are great points. I definitely think that not every relationship is traumatizing. And ironically, I recorded a video today talking about that. There's a difference between a healthy walk away and someone was broken. Jermaine, what were you going to add?
Part of it is so far. I hope I can tie it all together. But one thing I was just thinking that I think for a lot of us, relationships seem they come across as one-sided and self-centered. And we've been in my brother Jermaine without the I said earlier about the encouragement piece, and I think that gets lost in the whole translation of a relationship. This is fine, women's I'm the prize, you are, but then I think under that they forget about, look, we want someone that's going to love us as well. We want someone who's going to support us as well. And so I didn't want to just glance over when he talked about, speaking life into each other, encouragement. That is so big. And you can do so much if you just encourage a brother and speak life into him. And, and staying on the whole Barack and Michelle piece, Barack was, like he said, he had a hole in his car. That's why, and you heard me talk about this 100 times, Yonci. Chapter 9, of the conversation, Hill Harper's book is entitled The Obamas, and it talks about just that, how he had a hole in his car, he's smoking cigarettes, and he was a junior or something, I don't know, in the mailroom, but she was established already. So we want these Barack and Michelle goals, but how many women are going to date a man
in that work?
Who's going to date a man who's not on your level financially? You making $200,000 and he's making $45,000. How many women are going to look at this man and see his dreams and focus on him? Because that is a beautiful story. But then we talk about, well, I'm old fashioned, and it's just that old fashioned we use, and we can start a whole nother conversation on that. We use under the guise of selfishness, and so, or self-centeredness. And I just, I'm struggling to find relationships that see the balance. And look, we're here. I want to see you be the best you can be, and I want you to want me to be the best me I can be, and you're invested in that. That's all I want to say.
I think that it's so important.
I think it's
for
so. I hate that term relationship goals, because people don't know what goes on in the crib. They have no idea what. Listen, I'm on my second marriage. I was married 20 years the first one. I'm going on 8 years the second one. Marriage is hard every minute of every day. Like, so for people to see, when they see the results, they don't understand that maybe we had a disagreement on the way in, right? Or the fact that, we're just off, but they don't understand the work. They just see the end results, and they use the term relationship goals. But I had a boy of mine who said that to me. He was like, I want what you got. I was like, cool. I started mentoring him to it. He did not like the work he had to put in. He didn't like it. I said, but bro, you said you wanted what I got. He was like, yeah, but I didn't know. I was like, I wasn't born with this. This didn't come to me. So we gotta get out of that. Barack and Michelle, God bless them. I don't want what Barack and Michelle got. I want what Jerome and Cecilia, my wife, got.
No, I love that you said that, and I think there's so much work that goes on behind the scenes. People don't realize. For somebody who is obsessed with interpersonal communication and obsessed with interpersonal relationships, I know that it's difficult dating me because I know the way to go. And for me, I see certain habits that I know are bad habits to get into, and it's really hard to leave, like, the coach Yonci and just be the girlfriend Yonci, because I see so many things that are down the road. Like the Bible says, a wise man sees danger far off and avoids it. I think there are so many things that that we can learn from each other, and there are certain things that we have to avoid. I want to get back to, I'm trying to remember who said it, but talking about speaking life into a person. The way that I see the role. What'd you say? Oh, okay, thank you, Jermaine, with an I. The way that I see the role of a woman is the equivalent to, I don't know the name of the person, the role, but the person in the boxing ring when the fighter goes to the corner. There's that person, I don't know if it's the trainer or there's a different person, but somebody is putting the Vaseline on the cuts or whatever they put on the cuts.
It's the cut man.
The cut man. They're putting the water, they're squirting the water in his mouth. Somebody is literally talking to him and speaking to him, encouraging things. I feel like that's the role of a woman. I feel like a man goes out into the world and he has to fight everybody he encounters during the week. And when he comes home, which is why so many guys say, I want a safe space. He wants a place where he can take his war clothes off and take his battle clothes off, and he wants to be able to be exposed. He's the most vulnerable because now he doesn't have his shield, he doesn't have his helmet, he doesn't have his mouth guard, he doesn't have all these things. And so the last thing he's expecting is in his corner to be socked in the face. And
perfect analogy.
Yeah, I got a therapy
wonderful
question.
And so my thing is, I truly want women to understand that men will literally climb the highest mountain, swim the deepest sea when they feel supported. And so what we as women have to understand is, first, what men feel. they feel like they are on all the time. And I pardon me for being long-winded, but my uncle was in the prison system and he had to get out because he said that he couldn't turn it off. He would go to a restaurant, he would go somewhere, and he said within seconds, niece, I could tell you where all the exit points were. I could tell you people who had their hands in their pocket. I could describe what the jersey is on the guy who's behind me. I haven't even turned my head around. He said I was on, and he couldn't relax and just be at a booth with his family because he's head on a swivel. And that's the way I hear men describing life. I have to be on. I have to be the most brilliant, the fastest, the smartest, the quickest. Physically, I have to be on alert because I don't know if I'm going to get shot on the way home. So when I come home, I just want to lay my head proverbially on her chest and just woo-saw and have peace. And I think that if we can figure out how to get a man there, Jordan, Jordan, you gonna move to tears? Oh, my brother.
Hey,
I think that the world, like, we would find world peace.
you need to get this recording, splice out that last little 2 minutes you just said, and post it on Everything Shareable. That was a good one.
I got a therapy question though, right? So it's all fine and dandy to say that people need therapy, right? There's nothing wrong with it, but how does one come to that conclusion for self, right? Because the alcoholic doesn't really think he's got a problem, right? Like he's usually hanging out with other alcoholics to begin with, so he's not gonna let the alcoholics ain't gonna tell him like, yo, you got a problem, bro. Like they're gonna be like, you got a problem. Like, what's wrong with you? You in the same boat as me.
That takes maturity.
So how do we say to somebody, right? Like, and how do we say it in a way that they should be able to receive that? Because there's different levels of, hold on one second, fam. There's different levels of trauma, and it don't even have anything to do with relationships in terms of, boyfriend, girlfriend, we'll just call it that. It could be something totally different that they're bringing into this relationship, right? But how do you go to somebody and say, well, you should have it, and they turn around and then put up a mirror and be like, well, bro, I think you need it too. Then y'all just at an impasse because both of you, one might be coming from an actual place of saying, I really do think you need it. And the other one might be coming from a place like, yo, you know what? You ain't about to talk to me that kind of way because you got some issues too.
So Corey, the best way I can answer that question is this. I think in the Black community, we think that because a majority of us have gone through the same thing, that is normal. And the problem is that most likely the things that we've gone through and have experienced as Black men, Black women, is not normal. By abnormal.
You mean not normal for humans or not normal for Black people?
Let's talk about by standards of white America. By standards of that.
No matter what standard you talk about.
We've normalized our trauma in the Black community, and it comes out in other systemic ways that we don't even realize. We just do it. We normalize our trauma.
Not having a father in the home. It's normal.
So by that proxy, then, right? Like everybody should just be going to therapy at a certain age. It should just be a prerequisite for being 18, and then you should go at 25. And then at 30, it should be something that we should just do progressively and just be part of the culture.
Here's my thing. We do it in every other area of life. If something's going, like you go to get maintenance on your car, you go to get checked on for your health and your body. You go to
financial
for education.
health.
Yeah, you got to find an educational advisor. I mean, all these things. But when it comes to ourselves and our own emotional health, it's like, oh, pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. Oh, I'm fine. Figure it out. I mean, there is no roadmap for life, right? Like,
and I don't only speak to my therapist when something's wrong.
Right.
Also speak to him when something's good, right? Yeah. Because the next thing is coming, right? So I have to start building up that immunity and that strength ahead of all of that. So, and Jermaine, you hit it on the head, especially Black men. We take therapy as being weakness. Right. Island men, especially, we take it as weakness, and we have to stop that.
So why you went, Jerome? Why you went? Like, what made you go?
No Black man wants to be referred to as crazy. We don't want that whole context of stigma. Oh, I'm going to a psychologist because I'm crazy. I don't want to sit down on the couch because I don't want somebody to think I'm crazy. So man, we've gone through some crazy shit. We've not gone through this. Like, we all know from a perspective of being black in America, how we can relate to one another because of the trauma that we laugh about. You understand what I'm saying? But at the end of
as black people, we stigmatize counseling. White people, they be like, "Oh, what's my counselor this week? Y'all went to my counselor."
Three different therapists.
Like,
yeah,
it's normalized. Yeah, it's normal. Like,
and Corey, if any of you have like health insurance through your company or whatever, ask yourself, how many times have you gone to a therapist? Like how much have you used in mental therapy? Like they got like they do like 6 free sessions a year, depending on like what type of insurance you got. For you
employee assistance programs.
When I was going through a divorce, I went through counseling. They told me about 6 sessions that I could get to go through counseling. We don't prioritize that.
And I want to answer Corey's question before we move on really quick, because Corey and I have talked about this at length. The thing is that I'm gonna go into Mama Yonci mode, or maybe Deacon Yonci mode, because I'm so passionate about this. Nobody can motivate anybody else to take a mental health journey other than themselves. And somebody compared it today like an addiction. You can have 50 people in your family tell your Uncle Joe, who's strung out on meth, that he needs help. Here are the advantages. You have all the signs. You pass all these tests. Until Uncle Joe says, I'm a freaking addict and I want help, he's going to go through the motions, if you can even get him to go through the motions. So we as people have to let go of this idea that we can be the savior to anybody. And I say savior because to me, it's arrogant to think that we can convince somebody that they need anything. If you look at human nature, if you give anybody any unsolicited advice, it is not going to go well. They might not directly tell you F you to your face, but they're talking about it behind your back. There's something about our sin nature that does not want outside help. Until you have a come to Jesus moment, you are not going to go to therapy, or you're not going to take it seriously. That's why it's annoying when you can beg your partner to go to therapy, but they're going kicking and screaming. They are not going to do the work. So I get it. It seems so easy to say, okay, I dealt with a broken person. Cool. I can help her. It sounds benevolent. It doesn't work. I've dated so many narcissists, and oh my God, I wish I could just tell them, hey, you're a narcissist. Go get help. But it doesn't work that way, unfortunately.
So for me, what made me do it, and it goes back to my childhood, right? Lived in New York all my life. My mother was very irresponsible with her finances. So I lived in all 5 boroughs of New York except for Brooklyn. We were always moving, right? And there was a period of time my family lived in a homeless shelter. And walking out of that homeless shelter, my family witnessed a man get murdered right in front of us. That's trauma heaped upon you.
Right.
I became a father at 21, and I realized that unresolved trauma, I was heaping that upon my kids. So it was my mother literally handing a book to me saying, and the name of the book was Anger Kills. That was number 1. But then she also said to me, my father has 26 kids. He's not a nice person, right? Not at all. Not a nice dude. My mother said, you're starting to remind me of your father with your temper. That was the worst thing anybody could ever say to me. I said, I need to do something about this. And that's what I did at that particular moment. I got rid of the anger. I got rid of the trauma that I have. I still have some stuff that I still need to work out, and I continue to. But no, I was not heaping that. There was just anger towards my kids for no reason, just for being kids.
So Jerome,
so I got a question.
That was a pivotal moment for you? Because that goes against what I'm saying, which is somebody that you respected said something which triggered you to want to go. So do you guys think that the person should say something? Because I don't know how to say to somebody, you need therapy and it's going to go well.
So wait, hold on.
Corey, right before you do that, real quick.
Got
it. It's really valid. It's really important, right? That you know who your friends' friends are. because your friends' friends should be able to talk to you in a way that hurts and that you listen to them. That is drastically important. We all need to stop for a second, right? And think of who your friends' friends are. The ones who say to you, dude, you are out of pocket. Like, if you don't have that person, you need time to really reevaluate your circle, because there has to be somebody, at least two people, or an older person who can come to you and say, what's really real? That's the first thing that we need in our lives. Because we have, as men, period, we have been living this life on this island for so long in America. We've been living the same lives, but we do it on an island. We put on this masculine mask, and we're the strongest thing in the world, but inside we're all broken. So if you don't have that person in your corner that's going to hold you up strong, you're going to continue to, you're going to have that fight when somebody comes to you and say, hey, bro, I think you need to talk to somebody. You're going to have that fight because you're too busy looking at his problem and to say, he loves me and and I trust him. He wouldn't be saying that to me unless there was a real problem. So that's the first thing you need to do, is get somebody in your corner that does that. Now, for me, I believe that everybody should go see a psychiatrist like you go see the doctor. You go to get a body checkup once a year. You should go sit down on the couch once a year just to say, hey, I'm having some thoughts. This is what I'm thinking. What do you think? You should just do that just because, and I'm gonna try to make this quick. I'm part of a men's group called Men's Legacy Empowerment Group. And about 4 or 5 months ago, we had a conversation, and I'm glad Jermaine brought this up. How many people know their grandfather? Know their grandfather and their great, I'm talking about know him, what he did, how he lived his life, right? Most of us can only go to our pops. Some of our pops situations weren't that nice. So we're trying to be men with boys. We're carrying that into our grown relationships. So now we have all of this anger we're trying to fight through. We're trying to weave through how to be a man, but we was never taught how to be a man. So until you get that therapy, until you sit down with some people like I don't know who said it, Kyle said it. Women should talk to married women. Married men should get to married men. And this is the problem in America, because what it does to Black people, it removes the village. You always had a sage in the village that everybody kind of listened to. When you had your family structure, there was grandpa and grandma that would give you the family lineage. And also, when you stepped out of pocket, grandpa would pull you to the side and said, boy, you out of line. Grandma would pull you to the side and go, girl, I know that boy made you mad, but you was wrong too. We don't have that anymore. So this is why this is another reason why therapy is important. So, Corey, I would say to you is, just check your friends and make sure your friends is tight, and just order, like they said, check your health insurance or whatever. Because a lot of people, because I didn't know it. I didn't know I had it in my health insurance, that you can go in there and they'll give you anywhere between 3 to 6 sessions for free. Go check it out.
Nah, what was you about to say, Corey?
Pause, like I wasn't like I wasn't saying I was looking for it, but I'm just saying but no, I got you though. I got you though. Like, nah, I got you. But we all should. But here's the thing. In terms of Kyle, you're a funny dude. In terms of breaking the cycle, right? Like there's what 12 of us on this Zoom right now, and it's gonna probably be maybe a couple hundred people that probably watch this. So the question that I'm posing is, in terms of breaking the cycle, how many of you guys now would send your kids to the psych at whatever like at 15, 10 to change the cycle? Because that becomes normalizing it, right? So I like to hear from you brothers that got kids, because I don't have any kids, but I would be, if I did, for this conversation, I might look at it a little different and start to send my kid to go see somebody just on strength, so it can become something normal to them and not looked at as.
Gary,
my daughter's 14, and I've already started to take her. We got her signed up with a counselor. She sees her counselor every other week. Now it doesn't have to stay that way. Sometimes it goes down to once a month, but it's been great for her. You know what I mean? It's helped her to be able to process things that, especially with kids, because they're not going to talk to their parents about everything. So the only people that you typically talk to when you're a kid is what? Your friends, right?
That's
and
a
they are
good
definitely
point.
not experts. They definitely don't have the wealth of experience to probably lead you in a good way. And so it's a place for them to be able to process, communicate, get advice, but learn early on, so it's not taboo to invite somebody into their lives. You know what I mean? To have that other ear. And most counselors actually don't tell you what to do. Most counselors help you to process and think about things in a better way for when they're not there, so that you can start to understand things yourself. So yeah.
And I think too, Kyle, in addition to sending them to counseling, I think it's never too early just to talk about it. In my home, we talk a lot about mental health. We talk about, I use examples, real life examples, and I say, Mommy was really struggling with my emotions. If I'm dealing even with a relationship, I don't hide things from my daughter. I use them as teaching experiences. Obviously, I don't let her see everything that she can't handle, but I let her know, you know what, Mommy's sad about this, but it's okay because we're going to move forward in this way. And relationships can be difficult. It's really important you have somebody who's nice and kind to you. I think that if we talk to our children about the lessons that our therapists have taught us, but put them in children's language, it's huge. What were you going to say, Darren?
So one, I would say therapy just doesn't come from therapists. Therapy comes from your village. And so whereas some things require like going to see a professional, when you have those elders that you talk to that are your village, they don't have to be your blood grandfather or grandmother, just elders from your church or whatever. When you talk to them, they give you real advice and real wisdom. One of the things that I had to go through, I'm a father of 3 boys. I have 7 godsons. And that speaks volume to me that different people make me their sons and their kids' godfather. Okay. And when I tell you that I speak to my sons, and when I was coaching basketball, and all my sons are grown now, my 3, I literally talk to them about everything. As I learn stuff about my family, about my father, about my grandfather, and the cycles that I was going through, and the mistakes that I had, and the things that happened between me and the mom, like I've talked to them about that, because it's like family secrets kill.
Yes.
Those family secrets and things like that, that people just want to look over, like that is what affects the Black community, I think, more than anything now, is those family secrets.
We don't talk
We don't
about
want to
that.
talk about how Uncle so-and-so used to touch kids or whatever. Like, it's just like, oh, we don't talk about that because we want to sweep that underneath the rug. But I talk to my sons about everything. So now, as grown, my sons will call me. I have one son who's engaged to get married. He called and asked me about relationship advice. I've been through hell with his mama. So for him to ask me that is just because I'm honest and would tell him real stuff. I tell him my stuff. I tell him the mistakes that I made. I tell him what I learned from that. I have my oldest son who, he's doing his own thing, but he wants to fight his own pathway. But when he really needs something, he picks up the phone. He'll call and say, hey, Dad, I was curious about this. Can you tell me about this or direct me this way? My youngest son, me and him are the closest one, and he will call and we can talk about just about anything. And when I say he knows everything, everything that I've been through with women, and we talk about it, like almost like he's like one of my best friends talking about it, not in a disrespectful way, but I'm like, I need you to know this stuff so you don't walk in the pitfalls that your daddy stepped in. I don't need you to step in these holes. You can learn these lessons and you can step around them, And so that's one of the things as parents, and as is that we forget to do that. And one of the hardest lessons for me is both my mom and my dad are no longer with us, and they've been gone. My mom's been gone since 2002, my dad since 2016. And what I tell my sons and I tell people is, you're not a real adult until you can actually see your parents as people. Because when you can see them as people and you can see their flaws and their mistakes, and you find that you hear all these different things, now you start to say, you know what? I need to adjust and need to work on myself a little bit. I need to fix this. I don't want to walk down this path. My dad did this. My mom did that. Like it all wasn't roses, and it's just a real thing that we have to start talking about, and it filters into our relationships. with me, one of my son's moms had a hard time letting me be a father. I was there fighting every step of the way, trying to be dad.
Ooh, that's a whole topic right there.
And that fight came out in my sons. And then when the truth came out later, now they started to see, oh, wait a minute, dad wasn't tripping. There was an issue over here with mom. And it was kind of going to a point where I was talking about earlier in the post earlier, Yonci, is that we always talk about in these relationship things how they're bad men and there's dogs, this and other, but we rarely, if at all, talk about the bad women that are out there that are doing just as much damage or more damage in our communities. And it's just, they get the pass. We don't dive deep into them. We don't talk about them. And then when we bring it up, then it's like, oh, well, you're hurt. Who hurt you? Or this, it's dismissed, or you're a weak man because
men are not allowed to express themselves.
So how you get her to therapy? How would you get somebody like that to therapy? Like that right there.
You can't. That's not your job. That's not your job.
Nobody to therapy.
That's not your job.
You can make the suggestion. You can make the suggestion, but here's the thing: your suggestion can't be attached to an expectation.
Yes.
Right. It's our job. If we like someone or we love someone, it is our job to come to them in the most humble way and to convey that message to them. But then from there, we can't have an expectation attached to it because we're setting ourselves up for failure. At that
but
point,
also, it's Darren's job. Darren's job to focus on his children as well. Right.
Yes. And I'm gonna tell you what I did. What I had to do for my kids in my situation is I had to basically put other women that I valued and I put in the esteem that I needed to give them other examples, not attacking their mom, but I had to put other examples of what other women would be in their life and what that I respected and would have that respect and could stand up right before them. That wasn't an attack on their mom. And so they could see the difference because there was nothing that I could do. There's nothing that I could say that could change that relationship.
And the key is not attacking their mom because they're going to side with their mom. No matter what you say, no matter what you think, they're going to side with their mom.
Until they get older. Until they get older. And that's where I went. But the point is, when all that stuff came out, they had different examples of women to see and to look at. So when they started seeing the issues that were coming out with their mom, I didn't have to say, oh, your mom was this or your mom was that.
They could see the difference.
They could see the difference and see the mirror because of, oh, this is what's going on. And then when they found out the truth about some of my family secrets, then it was like, oh, wait a minute, dad really wasn't tripping. This is what was going on. And it's like, it wasn't stuff that I had to do. But I still had to do other work to make sure that my kids had a healthy environment that was around. I could not control what happened in her house, and I didn't try to. I didn't even want to know what happened in the house. As long as they weren't being touched, this, that, or whatever, I didn't care what happened in the house. You guys are eating, you got clothes on your back, whatever, okay, we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Corey, I just wanted to
Tony
say.
Go ahead, Jordan. I know you were trying to say something.
One thing I think Tony touched on is essentially, the whole sage of the family, the grandfather, the grandparent, what have you, that would speak to the youngin', get them together. Yo, you tripping? Or the older, the grandmother would say, come in. I know he was tripping, but blase split. And what I'm starting to see in a lot of families, they're dead. And what I'm starting to see, and it was ironic because as you were speaking, I started to see, it was like I got a eureka moment. And it's like, Dad, yo, that's what's happening right now. Ultimately, I feel like what God is doing is with our generations in particular, he is making brand new sages of the family with people who understand therapy and the use of it. Not to answer your questions and not to get the answers from the therapist, but to actually think through the emotions and grow and blossom so that you can be the one that we lost. They got to be replaced by somebody.
And hold on one second, guys, because the audio is off. Can everyone just double check if anybody has a device that's on? Just make sure it's turned all the way down because there's been feedback. And it sounds like when another device is playing what we're playing live. So just if you could do that, because I don't want to miss what Jordan's saying.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, it's so funny It's so funny. That's actually one of the biggest things I'm working on personally. Um, the seven realms of health. Um, Emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, financially, relationally, and communally. Those are the seven areas that I'm really going to. I'm actually in the process of putting together something for a nonprofit organization. I want this thing to ultimately become like the new thing throughout all the 50 states, especially for us, because we're the ones that specifically have never really come from a place of health in those aspects, all seven of those aspects. It's always been just something that was slightly off, and we've never been able to really home in, especially with this generation, on one narrative. So, get everybody speaking the same language, understanding, health and all of those aspects so that we can continue forth on a better foot. And including God in that is really important. I believe in Jesus, shoot me. But I believe in Jesus. I believe, ultimately, like when you are looking for a wife or when you are looking for these things, when you're trying to work on yourself, understand that you're not gonna be the one that can really be inspired to do it necessarily just out of your own strength. Some things you're gonna be able to change only when you fast, when you pray. What's your prayer life like? How do you introduce that? Let's introduce that to you. That's absolutely 100% a part of what a man's looking for, a man of faith. What a man's looking for in a wife as well. Can I take you to church? Can I take you to my mama? Right. Can I take you to the club? Can I take you to a place that's a little shaky? Are you the type of person that you can be the representative of me on all facets? Because I'm gonna be going and be introduced into some of those places, and I need to know that I can take you wherever I go. Do you represent me well?
And I want to say this. No, go ahead. Were you gonna say, John?
No, I was going to say a lot of people, and a lot of times what we want to make sure of too is that our woman can not only take care of herself when we're not around, but at the same time she can take care of the kids if we do have kids. I don't have children, but I know at the end of the day, like I want to make sure that my girl can take care of herself. She understands, and she's self-aware of what's going on around in her environment, and that's very important because we're not always around. We're not always around.
So I have other questions we're going to move into, but this was so organic. I didn't want to stop the flow of it. So people who came in are probably going, what does this have to do with social media? Because that tag was out there for a while. But I do want to say this in regards to therapy. So each person is on their own journey of self-help. People are obviously in different stages. Some people are very aware and they take their journey very seriously. I know Chavez outside of the group, and he takes it very seriously. He'll send me stuff that's very motivating, very encouraging. That he's one of those people who are very enlightened and he cares a lot about it. There are other people on the spectrum who are just not aware. That's just not something that they're aware of for whatever reason, or they don't think that they are aware of it, but they don't think they need it. I think one of the things that we have to keep in mind is to have humility be first and forefront when we're dealing with other people, because it's easy for a person who has arrived to make other people feel like they are less than. And nothing is more of a turnoff to somebody who isn't on the same level as somebody who is on a different level looking down at them. And so I really challenge people who have gotten educated, those who have learned and made it to a certain place, that the higher you go, the bigger dose of humility you have to have. Because when you're low, you naturally have humility because you'd be stupid to be arrogant about how dumb you are. It's when you are elevated. If you're when you're elevated, you have to have that dose of humility. When you're that guy with the biggest muscles in the room, you can't be as cocky because you can knock out anybody you want to. So you have to really work to not go to that. And so I just want to encourage people that when they have somebody who's not there, treat them lovingly and kindly, and not in a patronizing, loving, kind way, but genuinely in a loving, kind way. And if they're so far behind you that you can't handle it, that's when you should walk away. Because I've been the person on the lower rung and I felt like I was just getting drugged, you know, and I was trying. I was giving it my best, but I can only do what I knew how to do. And it really damaged me in the process. I ended up learning, but I learned with freaking skid marks on my back from being drugged through the parking lot. So not those kind of skid marks, Jordan. I already saw where your face was going with that.
Jordan down here doing the Ray Charles laugh.
So I just say pray. You know, I've had the misfortune of dealing with a lot of narcissists, and being an empath, one of the things that really bothers me is not being able to share with other people. And one of the things that I felt led to do was just to pray for them, because they can't get help. They cannot get help unless they want it. And I really think they can't even want it unless God puts it on their heart, because that's a whole nother conversation. But what I can do is pray for the person. So if you've dealt with someone who's just beyond, you know, really truly pray for them, because prayer helps. All right, so I'm going to get into some of the others. My God, we have already been on here for 2 hours. So if anyone has to tap out, just go ahead and tap out. You can give a deuces and just disappear. You can just disappear. I never want anyone to feel like you're being held hostage. But I did want to get into a couple of these before we go. Kyle had talked about saying, you know, well, let's be proactive in what we're saying that we do want from women. And that actually, I was jokingly saying, get out of my notes. That was my next thing. So I have it now on the screen. What more do you want from women? And I'm going to take all 11 of you and have you say one thing. The world would be better if women did more of this. And I'm going to start with Kyle. And then we're going to go counterclockwise backwards. It's going to go Kyle, then Darren, then Corey, then Tony. So we'll just go in that direction. So what would you want women as a whole to do more of?
I would say smile. Learn how to laugh and have fun. Like when things don't have to be so serious. Men want to be around someone who is fun, where they can relax, where they can, you know, men really want a best friend when it comes to a female. So, yeah.
Okay.
Me, I'm going to say be approachable. Not be so guarded when a man says hello and how you doing. I've been so many places where you try to speak to someone and it's like the look on your face, their face, or their body language is like, why are you talking to me? I'm like, I'm just saying hello. We're two black people passing in the middle of nowhere. Like, you know, I'm trying to be friendly, you know. I don't even want to talk to you, you know. But if I did want to talk to you, I got to have that space to even approach you, to even start that conversation.
And it is because we're traumatized. I will speak up for the women because I know they're thinking it. We are traumatized. So we have to work through our trauma and be able to smile at strange men who say hello to us in passing. Okay. Corey, what would you say as women? It would be awesome if more women did this.
If they ask questions, not just to probe, but to actually see where they could be an asset to that man. So some things are really small that we like. Give an example. I was dating somebody and I hadn't had someone actually send lunch to me in a long time at my job, but simply because we was talking, something that small that I said in a conversation a while back, she remembered that and she sent some stuff from a place that I haven't eaten, which my favorite thing is an Oreo cheesecake. She sent that along with a lunch, and I turned the guy almost turned the dude away. I'm like, nah, it ain't for me. Like I was so shocked because I hadn't had that done for me in so long that it was just like, are you sure it's for me? So when women are asking questions, there's a difference between trying to be nosy versus trying to see where they can become an asset in this guy's life if this is somebody they truly want to get to know.
Okay, that's good. Mr. Watts? And you're muted, sir. So go ahead and unmute yourself.
Corey kind of hit it on the head. For me, it's habit. Like, you want the same thing. At the bottom line, if you're paying attention to this conversation, we all want the same thing, understanding. So if Corey's having I know any woman on this call, if we're having a conversation and you say you like red roses with a blue stem. And the next time I see you, I hand you that rose. You know I was paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
Just that simple. Just have some basic empathy.
Right. Okay, Jerome, I'm gonna hit you. I'm not gonna.
I think for me, it would be work on being that peace at home for your man. We talked about peace at the crib. I bet if I gave each of the brothers a check and told us all to write a number on that check for how much peace means to you, we couldn't do it. Peace for a man is priceless. So be that peace that man could have when he's home at the crib.
Very nice, Jordan. You're up next.
Man, listen, I'm gonna say it for all the guys that ain't said it or maybe was gonna say it. Yeah, all of that stuff before, and be a lady. I need you to know how to unsolicitedly, graciously, and without me asking you, on a regular basis, know how to suck a mean dick. I'm sorry, I had to go there.
No chasing.
I had to go there.
No chasing.
I had to go there. You know, hey, get your skills together, boo. You know, that's important. Hey, make a stress reliever. I come home from a good day, long day of work. Baby, let me sit you down and hello. Come on.
Beyonce,
I need
let
you
me
to know how
cater
to
to
do
you.
that. I don't need to be saying don't use your teeth. Okay, I'm done.
I cannot. Okay, it is after 10 East Coast, so I think it's okay after dark.
Yonci after dark.
Goodness gracious. And you guys, I need you guys to give me feedback when I drop the video because it's recorded, it's just not posted yet. But I gave the 10 commandments for women and it was based on the things that you guys have said over the last 6 years. So I'm interested to get your feedback when I post it. All right, Jermaine with an I, you look like you have about 2 minutes of life left in you. You're probably on the East Coast. Look, he that guy in church gonna be like, amen, hallelujah, I was just praying.
Terrence, mute yourself.
I just want women to understand that statistics matter. You know, what you're seeing out there as far as percentage of men that are dating outside of their race or marrying outside their race is a real thing. You know, the men that still want to be with black women, that's a real thing. There is a lot of data out there that speaks to demographic, where you are based off of your ability to be able to date a man. Like, use some strategy, because if you're not using strategy, because a lot of women think they don't need to compete. The reality of the situation is, yes, you do need to compete. We have to compete on a day-to-day basis, you know, as men, you know, to find the type of women that we want. I'm not saying that you throw yourself amongst men. There's ways that you can get noticed. There's ways that you can be, but if you're not even like being a part of the conversation, if you're not putting yourself in front of men that could potentially be the man for you, and you think that Mr. Right is going to come knocking on your door, I got bad news for you, beloved. It's not going to happen.
I'm not knocking. You're right.
I'm not knocking on your door, yo. You going to meet
Unless you come with the cheesecake.
Yeah, you're going to meet me up.
Right.
So the reality of the situation is, know your demographic, know exactly where you live and what's going on. In Arizona, it's an issue because there's not a lot of black men out here. And, you know, in Arizona, black men are coveted. So there's all kind of races that love black men.
In Arizona.
Yes, and in Phoenix, Arizona, you're going to have...
If it wasn't so hot out there, I'd be on the plane.
Arizona's crazy.
Yeah, we'll have a good time. But
Arizona's crazy.
At the end of the day, like, you're going to have to compete too. You're going to have to put your best foot forward too. If you need to lose weight, lose weight. If you need to get yourself right mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. You have to put in the work too. It ain't just about men. So
Jordan did a video on that recently. He talked about the statistics, and you know, he jokingly
said,
prize.
We are the prize.
That men are the prize. He did say that.
Yeah,
but the reality is, you know, whether we don't like that terminology or not about being the prize, the reality is that we are outnumbered heavily. We heavily outnumber, I should say, men. And I just did a video about that. I felt like I'm doing a promotion, but well, I am. Darn it, this is my channel. I did a video on talking about leveling up, and I don't think I posted it yet. But I was just talking about the fact that, you know, you look at women, I'm speaking to women right now, but women, we look at guys' pictures and we like, oh man, he's an amazing guy, but oh, if he could just fix his teeth, or if he could just get his skin together, or if he dropped a couple pounds, he could get it, right? We have that mentality. Understand that's a two-way street. There are men who see us and go, man, she has an amazing mind. If she could just get her body together, or she could just, you know, learn how to speak, or whatever it is, understand that the more we level up, and each person has a different level up game, the more you level up, the greater your opportunities are. And, you know, we live in this culture where everybody is supposed to be accepted. That's cute. That's cute. However, like Corey said, understand the consequences. So if you let your body go, understand that the women who don't let their body go are going to get picked first. And even though it's not politically correct to body shame, nobody's body shaming, it's just a fact that people enjoy fitness more than they enjoy people who are not fit.
Not blind.
Well, listen, it's at the end of the day, a lot of people think we're so much different than animals. We're really not.
Exactly. True.
101. I'm going to see the type of woman that I want that could potentially be like best for my offspring if I'm still trying to have children. Like, that is what I'm looking at. Men are physical. They see what they want and attack with their eyes. If you don't look like what we are looking for, and I'm not saying that, you know, because men, we have all type of, you know, different type of things that we love, but like at the end of the day, look 100% for yourself. Don't say, well, a man just gonna, if he don't like me, he just, you know, I'm not changing myself. Yeah, okay. You have that philosophy if you want to, beloved. It ain't gonna work for you. You understand what I'm saying? So like,
that's a popular philosophy, bro.
You gotta put yourself in a position where you can be the best person that you can be, possibly, and consistently work on yourself. Otherwise, a man like myself and the men like 11, 12 men on here, we're not checking for you.
And I will say this, you guys, I try to lead by example. I remember being younger and thinking, what do I not like about myself? So for me, I had glasses and I hated glasses, but I was so scared to get contacts. I think I was like in high school before I finally got contacts. But I remember taking a list and I was like, I want to get rid of these glasses. My friends ever get pissed off, they can bury me because the pictures of me and my Coke bottle glasses, y'all. I also went to some of you guys saw it. We went live. I had some friends show some old pictures. Oh, Chavez saw. Okay, yeah, they could do me some damage. But I also went to an orthodontist, and I went to get my teeth done. I actually had my wisdom teeth, which are 4, and then the orthodontist recommended pulling 4 additional teeth. It was like 2 and 2. He said it'll change your profile, and it really did. And so, you know, that's an investment, but it was worth it. Like, I did not like my smile before. I had an accident when I was in 3rd grade, got my tooth hit, which caused nerve damage. And so I got those worked on. I tackled everything that I had a problem with. My dear mother, bless her heart, she's Caucasian. She did not know how to do hair. I literally learned how to do my hair because I didn't know how to do my hair. You can do certain things to get to your personal best. No matter how hard I work, I'm never going to be a supermodel. I'm never going to be competing with the Naomi Campbells of the world or whoever is someone's fantasy. But I can be a level 10 version of Yonci. And that's what I'm speaking of. And so if you need to change your diet so your skin can get better, or if you have an outdated hairdo, ask people around you. Like, really, if you really want to know, take inventory, because sometimes I know as women, we'll see something in a magazine and we're like, well, that's cute. Honey, it's not your ministry. Like, you don't have a skull for that haircut. You know what I mean? Like, your texture is not, that's not you, honey. So the end of the day, it's not to coddle people and try to make them feel good. It's about giving them the life that they want. So if you want the type of guy that you want, understand what that guy wants. I'm gonna get off my soapbox. Jermaine, what do you wish more women did?
I think, you know, these brothers did a wonderful job of pretty much covering the gambit. I would say, just to reiterate a few things, just respect. And I wrote down safe conversations. I actually went to a seminar that comes called Safe Conversations 360, and it talks about how to argue, and it's basically showing how you respect one another's time. If it ever comes to your city, I suggest that you go check it out. But just being able to be safe, what you just said, a lot of times, I've had women, and I'm sure we all have had women who will ask a question, but then when you give them your honest answer, then they turn it around, and then now, they're talking bad about you. And I could just use my own mother, for example. My mother can really cook when she wants to. My mother makes some of the best fried corn, but she knows that I only like it with corn that's off the cob, like fresh corn. And sometimes if more people are coming, she'll throw some canned corn in there to stretch it to make it go further. And my mom is used to me giving her compliments on her food. And I remember one day she said, "Well, how is it?" I was like, "It's all right." And so she says, "Well, don't eat it then." I'm like, "Ma, you asked." And I said, "You added canned corn, didn't you?" She's like, "Well, I needed to stretch it out." I said, "Ma, you know that if you add canned corn, I can tell. And I tell you this." She's like, well, make your own. And so it's funny because I told a friend of mine this just this weekend, and she was mad at me for telling my mom the truth. So as a man, we want to be able to tell the truth and say, "But mama, but baby, but honey, I still love you." It doesn't,
Right.
It's just corn. It's just constructive criticism. You asked the question. So that's why a lot of times you have brothers not communicating and not talking because we don't feel safe. And we want to be safe, feel safe when we have these conversations.
That's a huge point that you're making, Jermaine. And I think that, again, and we mentioned this earlier, it stems from somebody not being whole. Because if I'm secure in myself, you giving me a slight critique, I see it as a critique. It's just something that I can work on. But if I am not whole, it's like you kicked the foundation out from underneath me. I'm standing on a chair and you just knocked the chair out. And so I think it's really important as women and people in general, but I say women because that's who this is geared towards today, is be confident in who you are. Truly, you should be able to ask your man, "Does this look good?" And him be able to say, "No, it doesn't," if it doesn't, and you don't doubt his love for you. We have to work on being in control of our emotions and letting our mind control ourselves and not our emotions. It is something that is so frustrating for guys, having to tiptoe constantly when they feel like they're walking on a landmine of emotions. And I think that guys have to work on being more sensitive, and women have to work on being less sensitive. I will just put it out there. And when I say women, I'm speaking to myself too. And I literally have tackled that the last 6 months. I have really, really done a lot of work on trying not to be so sensitive. Somehow I missed you, Terrence. I don't think I got your response.
Can I finish real quick?
Oh, I'm so sorry, love. I didn't realize.
And then selflessness is always beautiful. Just being selfless. And if I'm taking care of her, hopefully she's taking care of me. So everybody's being taken care of. And then my brother Jordan kind of touched on it, but I mean, I guess sexual aggressiveness. We don't always want to be the starters and always, we want to just
know how to score.
Yeah, come over and then you just hit us beside the head, kind of take it or whatever. It's like, why don't we always have to be the aggressor? So, in a flourishing relationship, marriage, that would be good. That's it. Thank you.
I think that needs to be stated like 15 million times because especially for people who don't have a high libido, and this is either gender, because some men don't have a high libido and their wife has a higher libido. If you're the one with a less high libido, don't think, well, just because we've had sex, we're having sex, check. A big part of what is a turn on to somebody is feeling desired. So as Jermaine said, don't just oblige, okay, here it is, take it. You want to feel taken. Make him scream like a girl. No, I'm just playing. But a man wants to feel taken as well.
Shit, you better.
Stop. up. A man wants to feel taken, you know, and used and abused.
You can do that.
Right. Make him clutch his pearls every now and then. Like, my God, wake him up in the middle of the night every now and then. You know, let him tell you no for once. But no, somebody wants to feel. The person who's more aggressive, yes, they're more aggressive, but that doesn't mean that they don't have a need. So they are the more aggressive because they want it more, but they want to also feel wanted. So it goes a long way for you to ravage them. And if you don't know what ravage means, look it up, because it's more than just having sex. Ravage them. Terrence, did I skip over you, love?
Yeah, no, it's all good. What I was going to say was, for a woman to learn how to protect her man's deepest inner secrets and all this good stuff. What I mean by that is, women always say that men don't know how to really talk to you on a deeper level, but it's a trust thing. And so if we trust you enough, we're going to tell you the deepest inner secrets and personal things about us. But the minute that out of the heat of a battle or an argument that you use it against us or you tell somebody else, I can assure
girlfriends,
you won't hear that deep thing from us ever again. So my thing is, we want to know that we can trust you on that level to tell you to go to that deeper place.
Y'all all in my notes from today. They're going to think that I made this video after this video, and I'm kind of pissed about it. But at least you guys are consistent. You guys are consistent in what you're looking for. And, you know, I went off in a video before talking about how, you know, women, we want these guys who are open and able to be vulnerable, but the women before have destroyed that, because that guy says, I am never going there again. I let my guard down. I opened up and I put my armor down, and you just came in and stabbed me where I was most vulnerable. So I cannot
let me interrupt
stress
you.
that
So
enough.
guys typically don't say we're never going there again. It's that you have to earn that from us, period, whenever we get in a relationship. So it's not something we don't necessarily, we're not going there, but to earn our trust so we can let ourselves down, like that's something that has to be done for each individual person every time.
Yeah. Okay.
And Yonci,
walk in.
Wait, let me add something right quick.
Mm-hmm.
Just for the ladies that will be listening to this, just make sure when you're asking your qualifying questions, the reason why I want you to ask those questions is because I don't want you to do all these things that we're talking about for the wrong guy. Because you could be doing all these things and then you get spurned, and then you're taking that and you're like, well, you know what? I did everything them dudes were saying. They clowns. They don't know what they talking about because I did it, but not realizing you did it for the wrong cat.
That's good,
So
Corey.
just be mindful of who you doing it for before you do it.
I'm going to need you to get out of my notes, first of all, okay?
I'm always in your notes,
all in my
you
notes,
already know.
sir.
I'm all in your notes, Ma. Stay focused, girl.
Please.
Hey, Yonci, yo. So for me, the one thing that I wish, or that I want women to learn, is that you have to be secure in who you are first as a human being, and then secondly as a woman. And that's your birthright. Outside of everything that you've taken on, being secure in who you are, which you will get that from knowing your relationship with the Creator and maintaining your relationship with the Creator. And as long as you have that, the security of who you are as a human being and then as a woman will be strong.
I love that. And I think it's so true. Y'all really, I'm telling you, all in my video content from today. But so many people take abuse and take less than what they deserve, and they know they deserve, because there's a void. And what you spoke to, I think it really needs to be stated, is that there is something that only the Creator can give you, and it can fill you, and you will have peace. Because some people are not going to find their person until 45, 46. So what are you supposed to do? Have a miserable life for those 46 years? Let's say that's when you meet your person. So we have to understand that the idea of the relationship is a facade to the extent that we think that that's going to be the end all to all of our emotional problems. That there is something that only the creator can fill, only God can fill from my perspective. Okay, I'm gonna get preachy on y'all and I don't care. Thump my Bible. But there is a longing. There's a longing that every human has, and they fill it with different things, whether it's alcohol, sex, fame, money, power. There are all different things that people try to fill it with, but the reality is we are spirits. And until we connect with the spirit that created us, we are going to feel that void. And I will get to you next, Corey. So if we confuse that longing with a desire to be in a relationship, we're going to constantly settle for less than, because most of us with common sense see red flags. We choose to stay because we operate out of a scarcity mindset. We say, I don't know when the next fix is coming, so let me stick with this. And I want to encourage people to get that help. And there's a verse that says, seek and you shall find. Ask and figure out how you can feel whole before you try to go into a relationship. Because if you try to go into a relationship looking for filling and feeling complete, it is not going to happen. Mr. Wright? I feel like I'm the teacher. Mr. Wright, you had a question?
Yes. Yeah, I did. So
yes, you may use the restroom.
I'm probably the only person on here that I don't believe, spiritually what you guys believe in. So I'm different in that aspect. And so I hear when you're talking about finding, your God and your spirits and this, that, and the third. So how do you communicate that same message to somebody who does not subscribe to the same doctrine or ideology that you subscribe to?
I would simply say to find your purpose. And no, I'm not being funny, but literally I will be posting this in the next week or two, the one I did today. But if you don't have a reason for getting up every morning, your life is going to feel hollow. So even if your purpose is, which I think everyone's purpose is helping others, it's just demonstrated in different ways. So I believe that you need to seek what your purpose is, even if it's just looking within. If you don't think that there's anyone out there, still meditate so you can get in touch with your own thoughts. Find what you're passionate about. Find what you're good at. Discover what people need, and then do a Venn diagram to see what's in the center. When you have a life full of purpose, your life is so different. When you're aimlessly walking around just waiting for a paycheck, your life is going to be miserable. So that's the best way I can answer that.
Purpose driven.
You have to feel it. You have to feel it. It has to feel like, at the end of the day, we as human beings, life is really about expression. We want to express ourselves, whether it be in our clothes, whether it be in our interaction with each other, whether it be in us having a conversation with someone. Like, it literally is about continuously expressing ourselves as we go through life. And then the other thing for me is just like being a healthy participant in the continuation of life. Like, literally, this is what we're doing. We're coming here for a short period of time. We're going to be out. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what are we leaving behind? Literally, like, what are we really leaving behind? And if we're focused purely on ourselves and not something bigger than ourselves, then we will have a very hollow existence.
That's true. Something bigger than ourselves, whether that's your community, whether it's your offspring, whether it's the family members you're going to leave behind, whether it's your personal legacy. If our world starts and ends with us, that is a very shallow existence. Did I skip anybody?
Before you jump to the next thing, I wouldn't be able to sleep if I didn't reach out to my brother Corey and say, whatever your spiritual ideology are, you were created in the imago Dei, and that is the image of God. So find that place, however you do it. You know what I mean? If you want to talk to me, some other brother on here about different spiritual levels, because like Chavez just said, when there's no why, and Yonci said that, when there's no why to your life, and if you think your life is just a drop in the bucket, when I close my eyes, it's over, that's it. What are we really doing then? Why are we living to a standard of morality? Why are we even having this discussion about how a woman should treat us and how we should treat a woman? There's no intrinsic value to anything. If there's nothing outside of us, if there's nothing beyond this breathing period we're going to do for 50 to 70 years, then we're really missing a whole large part. So like Yonci said, whatever thing that is that moves you through life, and what Yonci said as well, that helps you further the species, further your bloodline, then find that. But I just want to encourage you, bro. You were made in the image of God, the imago Dei. You will have intrinsic value. And the intrinsic value is in the words that you spoke tonight, as how you was telling women how they cannot be miserable anymore trying to find the right dude. There's value in that. And if there's no value, if we just here for a drop in the bucket and it's over, then why have the conversation at all? Just a thought, bro.
That's facts. We would definitely need more time for us to go back and forth on that one. Like, you know what I mean? Like, absolutely, because like we could go into that all day, and that would be, Yonci, if you want to create a whole nother Zoom on that, because I know I'm in a very small minority in the group that is a non-believer, but I don't take it personal. Right,
I was
like,
saying,
in
you're
that
open.
sense, so I can have the dialogue.
Yeah.
I can have the dialogue because I have questions also. I'm always seeking some answers, but yeah, and I appreciate that, Tony. You extending that. If I did need that, I'd holler at you. But yeah, most definitely, I would love to have that dialogue on here.
Yeah. And I will say about Corey, he is very open-minded and not judgmental. You know, when it comes to listening. I'm gonna
hold on. He's not what?
When it comes to spiritual things.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Spiritual things. Yes. He and I have had a conversation, and he was not judgmental. Yeah.
My boy. Yeah. But no, shout out to Corey. One thing I do want to say, real talk. Like I love the engagement that you give, bro. Like your energy. You know what I mean? Like you're hilarious, just funny.
I appreciate that.
Even when it comes to the other side, the things you might not agree with or whatever, like you know how to pull it back and still be able to be respectful, open-minded, and I think that's super dope. So I just want to affirm that.
I love that.
Appreciate that. No, I appreciate that, fam. I appreciate that.
And I want to give a shameless plug, to my people, you guys. I swear I know that there is a force bigger than me that draws the dopest people, but I'm telling you, I brag about y'all all the time, about my group and my friends. You guys are amazing. I have grown so much because of the conversations that we have or had over the years. Some of you guys have been in there longer than others. Some of you are newer additions that came right in and you would have thought you'd been there forever. But I felt like it was selfish of me to have these conversations privately all the time. So that's why I've opened it up to YouTube so that you guys could see what I get to have on a daily basis with my crew and then multiply this times like 3,000. So it's pretty awesome seeing people come together with totally different backgrounds, totally different belief systems, totally different experiences, and yet for the most part be very respectful and genuinely want to help each other grow. And in the spirit of wanting to help each other grow, the last segment, you guys, I've chopped so many questions because we went so long with the first one, but it was good. I'm not complaining. I want to leave the women with some advice, and then we're going to give a what would you do scenario. So for the women, one of the questions that I have is, how can a woman spot a player? What is something, because I am sure you guys have women in your life and you hear the beginning stories and you're like, oh my God, it's so obvious. And you're like, oh, bless her heart, bless her heart. What are the things that you guys see that we as women don't see that are like the overall obvious red flags of a dude that should just be thrown away?
The first one is one that agrees with everything women say in the group.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
I'm being 100. That's predator behavior.
So I said,
like, no one agrees with everybody 100% on the opposite sex. So if you're agreeing with every single thing that the women are saying, and you're attacking the other men and siding with them, I'm gonna go ahead and just put a predator mark by your name. Just check, boom. Like they're in here hunting for. And the sad part is the women don't know they're being hunted. Like,
no idea.
These guys, that's what they in here doing. You know, they're looking for their next score, and they're the targets.
Yeah, that's actually one of the things I was gonna say. Yeah, even if we tell them, you know, they still can get caught up. We can give you the handbook and all the answers, and then it'll happen in real life, and oh dang, you get caught up by it because you know you ain't got the chance. That's why you
because
get played.
feel like the attention. You feel like the attention is the guy really liking you. And most guys grow up knowing that women love attention.
Are you saying love bombing has a negative side effect?
Listen. Most guys know that women love the attention. So just showing a woman will take the attention if the guy knows how to play it right, giving just a little bit of attention up front. You're all in. You bit the hook. He pulling you out the water, and he hitting you in the head. He ain't just pulling you out the water. He got you in the boat. In the head.
So what's the solution, Chavez? So because the good guy and the creep is gonna start out looking the same. They're both gonna give you attention because they're interested. What is the difference?
Thank you. He said it. Time.
And I was
two things. Time, and he'll allow for you to steer the boat a little bit.
Yes.
He'll push. I mean, any man that sees you, if he wants you, he's going to push a little bit. But if he doesn't respect your steering the boat in the direction that you want to go, you have an issue.
Come through, big brother. No, I love that you said that because what I've learned about narcissists, because I've been studying narcissists for whatever reason, I tracked a ton of them. Not whatever reason. I know it's because I'm an empath and I've watched videos on that. But I've attracted a lot of narcissists. And so one of the things that they said is narcissists start out with love bombing. That's a big technique of theirs. But they said that over time, you will see a person's true colors when they are confronted with conflict. When you tell them no. It's like spraying a black woman's hair. Like, you're just gonna freak out. Like if you want to see, yeah, go ahead, Jermaine.
Here's the thing, though. A lot of times they tell you, but you're just not listening.
Yep, that's real.
Can you give an example? Can you give an example?
And a brother be like, well, you're trying to get to know you, but then if they're emotionally unavailable, well, I've still been hurt, and I don't know about just being exclusive. And then you like, well, I'll see how long the brother just said he didn't want to be exclusive. What?
Oh, you're saying he literally out of his mouth tells you.
Literally that happens.
Literally that happens. Yeah, I'm saying I think they need to ask these qualifying questions. That will root out a lot of the fakers, the performers.
Corey, you know what that means though? They have to know themselves first.
Right.
A lot of times they come to the table with no questions, with no, they like.
Nah, that's facts.
But then tell us what you. Oh no, that's too much.
Right.
May the Lord.
If women don't start creating a top 10 list of things that they won't bend on, like maybe they bend on one, but if the guy can't meet 9 out of 10 of your super things that you just will not bend on, you asking for problems.
Okay, so I'm going to add this.
You're gonna keep getting run. You're gonna keep running into the same pothole that you're gonna keep falling into. You gotta create a list of a top 10 and 11 through 20, because if you don't, that means you like Maine was saying, you don't know yourself. You have to be knowing yourself to be able to create the questions that are important to you, to be able to ask those questions to each guy that you have in conversation with. And if they can't answer those the way you want them to answer, that just like how you were talking about leading the ship, that's how you would essentially lead your ship the way you want it to go.
Now, in the words of the great Steve Harvey, which a lot of people tease him because of his books and stuff, but Steve Harvey said this, and someone said it yesterday in a way that I loved how he phrased it. The guy said, don't lead the witness. So even though you have your questions, try not to be overt in what you're asking. So if you say, for example, are you looking for marriage? And I remember I did this with the last person I talked to. I said, I think I said, are you looking for more kids? And it might have been marriage. And for me, I didn't want marriage, right? At the time that I was dating this guy. You saw him totally, I was over the phone. It wasn't FaceTime, but I could hear him thinking. And he's like prefacing, and he gets around to saying, I guess And at the end of it, I said, well, I'm not looking for it. And you could hear him breathe, but you could tell he wanted to answer the question the way that it would keep him in the game. So what the guy was saying last night is try as hard as you can to not lead the witness. Don't ask the question in a way that shows obviously which way you're leading. And I say this in the group all the time. When you pose a question, don't make your statement within the question. So many people give away their stance in just asking the question because they really just make a sentence and then put a question mark. So I say to women, if you want more kids or if you want to get married or you want to abstain, try to bring up the topic in general. Just introduce the topic, but don't ask a specific question like, what do you think about waiting for sex? Just
what women don't get, and not just generally, but I've experienced this so many times with friends. I can tell you, because of past hurts in relationships, don't go into a situation telling the dude what you're not gonna do and what you are gonna do, and all, because all you're doing, what you gotta understand, men are chess players. You're basically letting me know if I want to take you a different direction. You're letting me know how I have to maneuver. Now you're giving, like you said, don't lead the witness. You're giving me all the information I know, and I tell a lot of my female friends, my cousins and stuff, don't share so much information. Do more listening, and if you're going to share anything, share asking a question that you want answered. But as far as sharing all this other stuff, but I'm not just into having sex and this and that, yada yada. Like, don't bring all of that.
It's so true.
Listen.
Darren, right?
This is
Chavez is Darren. Just 2 seconds.
Go ahead.
We're so on point. It's not that we just chess players. We're multi-level chess players. So it's not just a chessboard has the pieces that you see in front of you. We're playing on a multi-level game. So stop, like they're saying. Lead the witness, take your time, understand what your goals are, and stick to them. Don't start giving up the tee or out the back. Because some dudes are just looking for, like when we first began, and Jermaine without the eye said, I feel a little triggered because you're giving them the cheat sheet. You start giving us information, you're giving us the cheat sheet. So don't do that. Sorry about that, Darren.
Yeah.
So this has always been my analogy that I've always told all my women friends, and I'm gonna give it to you, Yonci. Women that have walls might as well have victim stamped on their forehead.
Yeah.
Because think of it like this way. If you ever seen a rat run a maze to get to the prize, the rat knows when it touches a certain wall, because of the scent and the damage that's there, he knows not to go down that pathway no more, no matter whether it's good or bad, backs up and goes the other way. So when a woman has all these walls up, a predator, an apex predator, he's going to recognize the walls of your resistance and knows, you know what, someone's hurt her this way, so let me back up and let me be the nice guy this way. Now let me go down this pathway. Oh, someone hurt you that way. Let me stop right there because I can see that wall starting to come up, and let me back up. And next thing you know, that woman's saying, I don't know how this guy got to my heart, and it's just like the same dude that's been here before, and the last guy I dated has been here before, and the guy before that, and it's because all these walls. So if you still got all these walls up thinking you're protecting your heart, until you can strip those down so there's nothing for a predator to bounce off of, you are not in a place to date.
That's really
You're in a place to get played.
That's really good, and that's the healing where the same guy was saying, when you're healed, it doesn't mean that your scars are gone away. It means that you're not triggered. So like you were saying, so he might be poking, but you're not going to hear ouch because he's not hitting anything that's still tender and needing to be healed. And I really like that. I did a post maybe yesterday saying, how long does it take the representative to leave? And, what I have found is that, especially with guys, they will come on fast. They will come on heavy. They will do everything out the gate. But they don't have the stamina to maintain. It takes a real psychopath to last a year. But a real serious hardcore narcissist can last about a year. That's what I've done my research and found. But on average, it's about 30 days. For the guys that are just really just trying to get between your legs or whatever, it's about 30 days. They can't really keep their bluff because it's just not worth it. Like, It's not worth waiting so long.
From a number standpoint,
Nah.
it ain't worth it.
From a
Right.
cost standpoint, cost
no,
to
yeah,
time
all
standpoint, it don't make sense. I ain't
Yeah.
gonna keep
So
pumping
my
into
question-
like,
risk reward.
Yes, the risk reward. So this is my question that I want to ask. Women act like they don't care about sex. Yes, I'm going to talk about sex, ladies and gentlemen. Women act like it's my body, it's no big deal, whatever, da 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 da. However, when you hear about people feeling used, you almost never hear a man say, I feel she used me for my body. Most men are like, please use me for my body. I don't want to talk to you anyway. So
I mean, it happens.
we can we can lie to ourselves and act like we look at sex the same way men do.
Year 2020.
Right. we can lie to ourselves as women and say that sex is no different for us than for a man, and I have my need. BS. I will call BS until the day that I die. Women want relationships, sex. Most women, let me put the most in there for the people who are going to come for me and be like, no, I just like sex. I'll just take it out where I can get it. Okay. Most women want relationship sex. And Chavez has said this repeatedly, and I think it's so good. Men usually just like sex and will take sex. Women want sex just as much. They want it within the confines of a loving and healthy relationship, usually. So that being said,
So they're getting their 40s.
Woo! Let the well run
now.
dry. So
I was in my 20s and found out about them cougars, bro.
I cannot. So I would say this: if this is your daughter, this is your cousin, this is your best girlfriend, how long would you say to hold off on sex if she's a woman who wants to be in a relationship and doesn't want to end up being used? If an average person can last at least a minimum of 30 days, what would you, I see I'm leading the witness. What would you recommend? I wanted to leave it open-ended and just say, what advice would you give to women who don't want to be used for sex? What advice would you give when it comes to dating? Because men will pressure you on day number 2.
I always say, I don't put a time stamp on it, but I say this to women, that if you're not ready to own your sexuality and whatever you're going to do or not do with the man, then you probably shouldn't be in a dating situation. Because how you get to that you spot is that you're in a place of, well, I'm gonna let him lead this. When you get to a place to where you own your sexuality as a woman, if you decide to do something with him, then you don't have nothing that you're ashamed of, you're questioning yourself about. And I think that's one of the things of this kind of societal, I don't want to say double standard, but like, I respect women more that say, you know what, I like sex and I'm gonna do it this way when I want to do it. Than one was like, oh, well, I'm not gonna do it. I'm like, I know at this age you have done it, you want to do it, and it's just like, you just gotta own your sexuality. And if you're not there yet, then I think that's something you need to work on to figure that out, because especially as we're getting older and just things have changed so much. Like you referenced Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey's books works for his generation. For our generation, you can almost take that book and throw it out the window. And I work heavily with Steve Harvey, got the utmost respect for him or whatever, but it's like women are doing different things now that the women did in the book that he talks about. And sexually, women are out there saying, you know what, I'm gonna go have sex with this person. I'm not gonna wait till I get married. I'm gonna do this or do that. So if you're gonna do whatever you're gonna do as a woman, you gotta own that. You can't keep pushing it off on a man and saying, oh, well, it's your fault. You led me into this situation. You took me down this pathway.
And you know what?
Know what you were doing.
Darren, I really like what you say. I'll make this short. I really like what you have to say, and I would twist it a little bit. What I have on my notes is, don't ever give to someone what you can't afford to give. And my dad gave me this example when I was younger. He said, when it comes to telling secrets and when it comes to giving loans or loaning out items, he said, consider it gone. Because when you've given it, you no longer have control over it. If it's a secret, you don't have control over whether they keep their mouth shut. If you loan them money, you can't control them paying you back. If you give them an item to borrow, you can't control it. So consider it gone. And so I think that applies to with women. If you decide to spread your legs to a man, understand that you yourself are owning that risk, that he's not in it for the right reasons. And if the risk is too high, your length of time needs to be longer. And if it's really, really high risk, you need to wait until marriage or an engagement. So I think that is a determining factor. Go ahead, Chavez.
And that's the issue. I can't remember who it was. Was that you, Corey, or was that Jermaine that said just 101? No, who said 101 who we are as we're animals. Like we're trying to sell. So here's the deal. At the end of the day, take spirituality out of it, take religion out of it. Human beings are animals. We're mammals, right? Sexuality is a part of who we are, men and women. What we've done is we've taken sexuality and we've basically compartmentalized it for women to be a certain way and for men to be a certain way. Now, some of this is nature and some of this is nurture. But what ends up happening is women attach an expectation to sexual interaction. And a lot of that could also be about how it could also be attached to how you experience sex. A man is coming into your space. You're opening yourself up to him and you're allowing him into your space. For us as guys, we're going into a space and we experience sex completely differently. We can have it and we can walk away from it and it's just out of our mind now. You could, as a woman, still be holding on to that experience. To your point, a lot of it is the trappings that we have from a societal standpoint that have created this. We've been conditioned to look at it a certain way. So like you said, we really have to look, a woman has to look at it, you know, if I'm stepping into this situation with this guy, I can have these high expectations that this is going to be what happens. But the reality of the situation is this could just be just this thing and that's it. And what ends up happening is women are so devastated and destroyed and crushed if it is just that thing. And a lot of times for us guys, we don't know if it's just that thing. I know this could be very selfish. A lot of times we don't know if it's just that thing until it happens.
And that's why the onus is on the woman then. She has to be the one to be the gatekeeper because she's the one that has that high risk. And it's one of those things where we have to take the emotions out of it. It just is what it is. And it is unfortunate that men get to just carefree, frolic, and do whatever they want. And they don't have to worry about being, taken. They don't have to be worrying about, the women taking him back to her house and using him. The guys don't have to worry about that, but they do have to worry about a lot of other stuff. They have to be worried about being used for money. So don't worry. It plays itself out, karma. But we as women are the ones who have to be the gatekeeper. And we have to be okay. And like you said, one of you said earlier, and I was co-signing this about saying no. When you push back, when you try to steer the ship, if a man really, to me, if a real man wants a woman and everything else is amazing, and she says, I'm not ready yet, I purposely say this, a real man is not going to run. A real man who sees her as a rare prize, I have been waiting my whole life for you, he's going to figure it out. And I don't mean he's going to go get it from someone else, which obviously he could. But there are men who have control over their bodies, and they are able to wait long enough for that woman.
Look at Jordan. A mature man instead of a real man.
Yes. Okay. I'll take away my air quotation marks. A mature man and a self-disciplined man will be able to control his sexual desires in order to wait for that woman to be comfortable, because a mature man understands that sex is most enjoyable when you have a partner that is a willing partner. And there are extremes to that. You have rape, which is one extreme, which is an unwilling partner, but there are levels of unwillingness. There are I pressured her. I was a steady drip, just bugging her. I threatened to leave. She's obliging for all the reasons other than her loins are burning for you. And a mature man wants the woman whose loins are burning for him and is not being coerced in any way, shape, or form into having relations with him. Let the church say amen.
Amen.
Where is Tony with the organ? Y'all, I don't know if any of you, I think Corey might have been on here, but have y'all been on the episodes where Tony's been on here with the organ?
Once.
Y'all, he has an actual organ, but it's like just out of the range of the camera so you can't see it. So when I be going into my modes, he's like, and gives me the music. It is everything.
That's hilarious.
I told him you need to be here for every service. I have my cloth. I say yes. You know, we just throwing the cloth. Y'all, I love black culture. Okay, guys, I'm going to close with this. I said I was going to wrap. I have to skip so much because you guys, there's so much to unpack with each one. This is the what would you do scenario. Okay, you guys, I want to hear what you would do. A Colorado man was faced with the impossible decision. If you guys are looking at your YouTube, you can see it on there. Excuse me. Oh, I forgot there's a delay, so you have to wait. But there's a picture of a guy looking at his baby, okay, in the hospital. A Colorado man was faced with an impossible decision when his wife went into labor early, and the doctors asked him to choose between saving his wife or his daughter. Frederick Connie had rushed his wife, Kevon Connie, to the hospital as she began hemorrhaging inside their home in Littleton, Colorado. When they rushed to the hospital last Friday, doctors told Frederick he had to decide who to save. Frederick chose what he thought his wife would want him to do. On the same day that he welcomed his baby girl into the world, he lost the love of his life.
Oh no, that's an easy decision.
I'm easily taking my wife. Like they ain't even like, I didn't even like. I don't even know that little kid.
Hey, you can have another kid. You can have another kid.
That little kid. Like I seen that little kid for 30 seconds. Like I ain't choosing that little kid over my wife. Get the it ain't
Dude
even
says I don't even know that kid.
I don't know. So I don't even give it a name. They got a name now because we got putting on. Like I don't know. It's first time I seen this. I don't even know if it's mine. Like I was. Yo, Corey,
like, I don't. Wait, back up.
Listen, this thing you got going before you find out, she knows it's hers. Like, she knows it's hers. I don't know from what it's mine. I don't know that little kid yet. I'm a bond with it down the road.
Get your man, you guys.
I bonded with her. I already put that
Corey,
work in.
but you know something? Corey's 100% right though. In everything that he said, he's 100% right. So I mean, I can give people understanding people who would save the child. I get that 100%. But like he said, I mean, I'm like Corey. It's like we can have another kid. Right. I can't have another wife. Not like the wife that I have right now.
Right. If she's perfect,
this is the difference.
Like,
if you're not a father and you're not a parent and you never have kids. Your mindset is going to be different than that.
You know what? You're right, Darren, because the two of them don't have kids. You're right.
Because as a father, I know I would already have that conversation with my wife before anything, and we would have already talked about what she would have wanted me to do. And most women I've dated, they would rather save their child than them because that sacrifice. And the resentment that they would have for you in not doing that is something that, you know, I'm not sure you will be able to survive as a man coming out of the backside of it. You're probably still going to lose your wife anyway, and you've lost your child. And the love of that daughter, because that's still a part of her moving forward. It's an impossible thing, but I'm gonna have to choose that daughter, that child, because the life is just starting. And I know that my wife would want me to save her. My wife would risk her life for that. I know my wife would want to sacrifice that.
So this is the selfishness. This is the selfishness of two people without you. You have to understand how selfish you are.
I have a 21-year-old
son. No, they're talking about Corey.
And I would choose my wife.
They're talking about Corey and Chavez, Jermaine. Corey and Chavez are the two we're talking about.
But as difficult, like we're on a panel, right? And we're talking about relationships and how difficult, in theory, it is to find that person. So when you finally find this person that's theoretically a needle in the haystack, the right one, not Tuesday girl, the right one.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And now I should just pass it up for not saying that the child's not important. I'm not but I have to make a choice.
Right.
I'm going to choose this diamond in the rough that I never thought I may even be able to find, and I've been gifted with this. Like, this is my lady, my everything, who's been going through everything with me. Nah, I'm gonna trust in what we have that we will get through. I'm not, although I understand what you're saying, D, that there's a possibility that I could lose her and there could be resentment and this, that, and the third, but I would hope that I can show her that I loved you this much that I'd rather you than the child. And of course, if we had that dialogue and she still wanted me to off her and keep the kid, there's gonna be a problem there because I'm not gonna
your word.
Like,
Look at Yassi's face.
I'm not gonna, because I'm not doing it. Like, the conversation would be,
I don't know that kid.
If I had a baby, you kill me and keep the baby. And I'm gonna be like, no, I'm killing the baby and I'm keeping you. So either we don't have a kid, or if you leaving it up to me and I'm supposed to be the head of the household, this conversation is over. You're gonna be alive, kid is dead. I can't do nothing else. That's what it's gonna be.
Oh my God.
Like, that's what it is.
All right, Corey, I love the fact that you keep it 100, man.
He kept it 145.
Yeah, no doubt. Always. I'm always commenting behind him going, yo, dude, perfectly done, but your delivery, son.
I know.
But the delivery, though.
Wow. But here's what I think you're missing.
Kevin Samuels.
Is like Darren said, when you find that person that you're gonna have a child with, you're gonna have those conversations, and you're having the child for the legacy of who y'all are, right? So she's going to want you to let the legacy go. She's not gonna want you, because when the child is here, your whole entire existence is to make sure that child moves forward. You're going to give your lives for that child. So her giving her life so that child can be born is probably the highest honor that she could give to something. And you denying that because, I'm sorry to say it, because you selfishly just want to have her around you, it's going to be a heavy toll. Well, I'm not saying you're wrong, because there's no wrong answer.
Right.
They're just people, how you feel. But coming from a person who is a father, shorty gotta go.
I just feel like I could get another one, son. I feel like I could get
logical.
another. I feel like I could get another youth. I could get another seed from her, but I can't catch that another diamond. Struggle is real out here.
I'm with you, Corey.
I'm with you, Corey. I actually am.
Here's what you're missing. She had a hemorrhage. We don't know how much damage that hemorrhage did to her. You might never have that opportunity again.
Oh,
right.
You're looking at it as that, okay, the child dies. Now the hemorrhage has messed her insides up that she can't have a child. Now you'll have to adopt. You killed the only chance of procreating.
Right, but guess what, Tony? But
No.
peep this. I signed on for better or for worse. So
Right.
if I signed on to that, and we can't have, it's either adoption or we just travel a lot. That's just what the alternative
What I will
is.
say about Darren and Tony is this. What I will say about what Darren and Tony is saying is this. I think about, the people that I know, the women that I know who either had a miscarriage or they lost a child. And it literally, I don't think I know of anyone where the relationship sustained.
Ooh.
Like it literally destroyed them, and which then in turn destroyed the relationship. So I'm with you, Corey. I would probably, honestly, I'm with you. I would probably make the same decision. And
what Darren said was really...
That sound like Carl Thomas.
What Darren said was really important also is you're going to have those conversations. You should be having those conversations. Okay, honey, what if I get into a car accident and I'm on life support and they want you to pull the plug? How long should you allow me before you let me go?
Right.
You know what I mean? You're going to have those conversations. So if I love you enough and trust you enough and say, hey, babe, if we have a child and I'm on and it's between me and the child, I want you to choose the child.
And so that's a question, T, that you got to ask when you dating. Because
No.
why I'm gonna even go if me and this person can't, if she wants to die and I gotta keep the kid and this scenario happens, it is not gonna work. I'm not even going on a third date with you. Because right now we out of here. Like we ain't agreeing on something that important. You know?
Time out. Time out.
Somebody get the holy oil and help him. Get
I
him
love
together.
you, bro. But time out.
Corey's killing me.
This conversation you can't have with somebody on the third date. This is something.
Yo, you want to die, son?
No.
All right, cool.
No.
Chili's, that's it.
This is a conversation.
I'm gonna tell you.
T.
I'm gonna tell you 100.
Have with somebody that you made that I'm gonna put the ring on your finger commitment to. This is too late. This is death do us part. This is not
too late.
You know, hey,
too late. T, that's too late. It's
No.
too late. Look, if I'm already trying to go buy a ring for X amount of thousands of dollars, I need to know if you gonna live with me. If this situation come, I need to know.
Or you trying to tap out?
Right,
you trying to tap out or not?
Cause I'm not like, it's like, yo, you want to ask somebody you dating, like, yo, do you want to have kids? Yeah, I still want to have kids. All right, what happened if it's between me and you and this, that, and the third? Cause I need to know. Cause if you say go right and I say go left, then we just need to just part our ways because it could happen.
You're not
So,
compatible.
but listen. I agree. So let me just put this one caveat on it before we pull out of this. How you feel, right? When you ask that question while you're dating, and how you feel once y'all are together and that baby is growing in the belly and you're feeling it and you're talking to it every day before it gets here, you're gonna, bruh. When you find somebody, you know, hopefully from this whole discussion, somebody finds you and y'all talk and let me have this conversation with you a